everything upside down.
It'll bounce back.
Well, I mean, I was going to finish. The warning was, if you can believe what the communist government is telling you, that they were able to develop it on their own with cheaper products, and they didn't steal it from us.
Yeah, but you're going to
absolutely stole it from NVIDIA. So I think that it will be a very censored form of AI, and so it's just not going to be able to take off the same way that NVIDIA's will after the newness wears off.
Yeah. Don't you guys think that most print mediums and even television commercials, because you got a bunch of TV, like just commercial actors, are going to be AI?
I think Coca-Cola did a AI commercial they got a lot of criticism for, which I don't understand. Well, I mean, it was a bunch of polar bears and stuff. Were they supposed to go train polar bears?
You could just pay an artist to do actual work.
Yeah, but polar bears are part of the brand of Coca-Cola for years and years.
Yeah. What about voiceover actors? Can you do AI?
Oh yeah, we've got that capability here. We don't use it, but we've got that capability.
Yeah, that's going to put a lot of people out of jobs.
Good.
Yeah, very few people know this. Emily Grace, not even real.
Yeah, she's AI.
She's AI.
Yep.
She's a fembot.
Yep.
That was your rumor. I'm just confirming.
Yeah, I don't do rumors. I don't do rumors. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Hey, before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information at mortgageright.com, 205-900-7200.
The dumbest sports graphic of all time, and that's saying a lot. Inside the broadcast, if you watch the Cleveland Cavaliers home broadcast, this is on the screen constantly during the game.
Okay.
It's called the diff. If you'll notice there, the diff is currently +2. You know what the diff is? It's how much Cleveland in this situation is ahead. The differential is +2. We are so dumb, or at least the Cleveland Cavaliers broadcast thinks so. We are so dumb that we can't figure out that Cleveland is +2 right now ahead of their opponents, that they constantly on the screen put the diff.
So this is not a one-off. They legitimately do this.
It is on their broadcast the entire game. Either the Cavaliers are ahead, plus by how many points, or they are minus. It's the diff, the differential.
Yeah, I thought that's what a scoreboard's for.
30-28. They don't want you to have to do the math.
Oh, we're ahead by 2.
They don't want you to have to do the math.
Wow.
That is weird.
Yeah.
The diff. And they even try to be cool and call it the diff.
The diff. As Josh writes on Twitter, I mean, is this really necessary?
I mean,
no, Josh, it is not.
It is not necessary. How dumb are we now? The diff +2. I thought maybe it was gambling.
Well, I thought maybe based on the point spread, are we point spread wise 2 up right now? If this were a pick 'em, you wouldn't really need it, but let's say Cleveland's -1, the diff in this situation would be +1.
But anybody that gambles, all you got to do is put what the number was, which is
what
you see.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I guess there's dummies everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to put an in-game live number, that is
the diff.
The diff. I don't know what we're doing anymore sometimes. All right, we're back with you tomorrow. Nate Oats on the show tomorrow at 9:45 Central Time. So we'll have Coach Oats here on game day to talk about Alabama at Mississippi State. Probably catching him right before shoot-around in Starkville.
I don't have his schedule in front of me. Maybe right after breakfast.
Right after breakfast, right before the shoot-around. Sounds like a good plan.
They'll have a bottle of water on him.
Probably will. Probably will. All right. So that's the show today. We'll do more basketball tomorrow. Until next time. New Bama and Bourbon this week?
Not
yet?
No.
Not yet.
Not this week. There's a reason, but no, we will not have Bama and Bourbon back until next week.
Until next week. All right. New Bama and Bourbon out next week with Aaron Suttles in LT. You can get all of our stuff right at our platforms, video and audio-wise. Until next time, God bless you, and God bless America.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
New worst job in the NFL. We'll make that label a little bit later on in the show, and we'll talk about the debate of the GOATs in the National Football League at some point. We'll also get to the LT has a different belief on this. Probably the toughest sport to project, in my opinion, is college basketball. We'll look at Tennessee, Kentucky last night. And we'll start off with college basketball. Nate Oats is on the show with us coming up at 9:45. In about 45 minutes, the coach will join us live. Alabama on the road tonight. Tough game against nationally ranked Mississippi State. Auburn on the road, number 1 in the country at LSU. Both road games tonight. Both coaches yesterday talking to their gathered media news conferences on campus, both talking about some personnel issues from over the weekend. Let's go cut one first off the top, get Nate Oats, who will be with us to talk more basketball in about 45 minutes. He addressed Mark Sears, Cliff Moray, and everything yesterday in his media gathering.
How strong of a message does it send the team when you bench a star player for not performing well?
Yeah, and I mean, there was, there was messages sent and everything we did. It wasn't just Mark. It was Mark and Cliff. And for various reasons, Cliff got the opportunity to then come in and play. But I think the message sent, and it's the message we try to send into all of our decisions, is there's nobody above the program, including the head coach. I mean, like if we build this thing the right way and you build the foundation that you're supposed to, and for whatever reason it is, my first year here, I had to go to my grandfather's funeral. If I miss a day, I miss a game. I mean, like I said, whatever it was, I think Coach Saban maybe had to miss one back in COVID. He built such a strong program that they're able to perform without any one particular person there. So it's not just a point about Sears or Cliff or anybody. It's anybody in the program. The program's bigger than any one person, including the head coach. So let's build such a strong program, such a strong culture by everybody in it that we don't rely on just one person all the time. But we certainly need Sears, certainly need Cliff. We need everybody to be the best we can possibly be, and our program knows it, our team knows it, and getting the best version of Mark Sears is what's best for this team, for this program, and that's what we plan on getting moving forward.
Been talked about a lot. Can't wait till they play another basketball game. How big of a night is it for Mark Sears personally to go out and have a good game?
I think it is pretty fascinating because this is a difficult place to play. Now, Alabama's won 9 of 10 against Mississippi State. They've won 6 straight. We were wondering what this number would be. I said Alabama probably 1.5, 2. It's actually Mississippi State, a 1-point favorite.
Landmine Believer says Bama open 1.5 and it flipped. Did you see it that way?
I really didn't, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, I just saw what the current number was this morning, and it was Mississippi State 1. But I could see, Alabama open at 1, and then it flips around. With all that said, I think it's super important. I mean, this Alabama team, I think it was one of you guys said it after the show, man, I can't believe Alabama's sitting at number 4 right now. How good is this team? I think it was you.
Yeah, I asked, is this team, the number there in Lenardi,
Yep.
I said, are they the 3rd overall best team in the country? That's where Lenardi has
Well,
them.
these are the games that you prove that you are the 3rd overall best team in college basketball, being able to go on the road and beating a ranked state team. But I think all eyes, across the college basketball world, because he is one of the biggest names in college basketball, are going to be on Mark Sears to see how he responds.
Yeah, and again, as I said Monday, I think he's going to respond well. I think he'll have one of his best games he's had at Alabama. Now, are you going to look and say, no, he scored more, against Northwestern State? Well, maybe so, but I think you're going to have to look at the all-around performance. Look at him on playing defense, and look at him, on hustle plays, and I think you'll see the best of Mark Sears. I agree with what Nate Oats said. Alabama needs the best version of Mark Sears moving forward, and I think they'll start getting that tonight, because I don't think Mark Sears gets to where he is in his career without being able to be challenged and accept a challenge. This guy is the leading active scorer in NCAA basketball. And again, I'll say, I don't think Nate Oats would have done this had he not thought Mark Sears would respond well. I just don't think he would have done it if he didn't think I can trust Mark Sears to take this and respond the way I think he'll respond.
And I'm not saying that this has anything to do with it. I do initial blush think Mississippi State wins this game.
Yeah, because of your,
I just think they're a good
metrics
team.
where you look at the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Mississippi State in this spot, I think they, this is without any drama, if Sears would have gone for 25 Saturday night, I still think this is a really difficult game.
Yeah, see, I actually thought Mississippi State would win this game.
Until that happened.
Yeah, this flipped it for you, huh?
And it could flip it.
And this is the circle the wagons game. Interesting note, only 2 teams in the SEC are still unbeaten on the road this year in league play. Auburn, obviously, because they haven't lost home or away, and Alabama. Both of them are 3-0 away from their home venues, and they're the only 2 in the SEC that hasn't lost a game on the road.
Yeah, I'm curious. Nate Oats has far deeper metrics than we look at and understands them better than we understand them, even the ones that we both look at. I'll ask him when he comes on. I'm curious if his metrics show that they are a better team on the road. My eyes tell me that, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the numbers are the numbers. I mean, they definitely shoot it better on the road.
I know. It's weird. They feel like a much better – much might be an overstatement. They feel like a better team. The numbers tell you they're a better team. Your eyes tell you they're a better team away from Coleman Coliseum, which is fascinating. Yeah. That's pretty rare in college basketball.
So we'll get – that game's 8 o'clock tonight. We'll get Nate Oats here with us at 9:45 Central. Maybe a little before, maybe a little after. So hang around with us here. And he is on the road over in Starkville with the Tide as Bama and Mississippi State play tonight. Auburn on the road at LSU. By the way, LSU 1-5 in the league, 1-5 in SEC play. Alabama just beat them without Sears playing a minute in the second half at home. And amazingly, this is still a quad 1 game for Auburn. I mean, you got a team that's 1-5 in the SEC that doesn't look that good. And it's still a quad 1 win on the road.
Yeah, I don't really – I mean, look, I'm not going to pretend to know how some of these metrics they come up with them. But for a 12-7 overall and a 1-5 in-conference team, how in the hell is this quad 1?
Well, it's clinging by dear life to a quad 1. They're 67th in the net. I mean, LSU can't stay quad 1 much longer if they continue to lose basketball.
75 is that line.
Yeah, at some point they're going to have to win a few games to stay quad 1 for anybody that has beaten them in Baton Rouge.
You know, and Auburn is a healthy favorite here. They're sitting at 12, I think, currently on the road at LSU. But Auburn on the road looking, at different opponents, but against Georgia, South Carolina, and Texas, they won all 3 of those games by combined 10 points. So these road games have been tight for Auburn.
Including, like you said, at South Carolina, where that team's yet to win one, losing again last night in league play. But here, if we can get cut number 4 to put the other storyline, non-basketball storyline, to rest on the other side of the state, Bruce Pearl gets asked about Jahki Howard, who got sent to the locker room for the most of the second half, 18 minutes of the second half against Tennessee. Here's Bruce Pearl on Jahki Howard and his emotions.
Again, one of the things that you have to be reminded about is that they're still kids. And they're 18, 19, 20 years old. Chet Baker's a little older. Denver's a little older. Chris Moore's a little older. And so as a result, they're working on it. They're working on their emotions and their. I'm 64 and I'm still working on my emotions.
Yeah. So Bruce, emotional guy there. So that's Jahki Howard, who a lot of people point out that he, with a couple of high-profile incidents now, still is contributing to this basketball team when he gets a chance to get on the floor.
I was talking with an Auburn fan last night about this, and he made the point because I was like, boy, they have been very, very patient with Jahki Howard. He had he was right in the middle of the airplane incident, which is one of the stranger stories you will ever see in sports.
Seems like a big strike. Again, we don't know all the details.
Yeah, but when a plane has to turn around and land and you get left behind.
Somebody's to blame for that.
Yeah, you're one of the ones left behind. I can piece together that it didn't go great, right? And then you get sent to the locker room. Most guys don't get a third strike in a situation like that. And he's going to get at least a third strike. And you heard Steven yesterday talk about him trying to start taking some accountability for this. Steven Pearl on the show yesterday, and then Bruce Pearl talking about him there. I was talking to an Auburn fan last night, and he's like, man, the kid can jump out of the gym. He's a good player. He goes, but beyond that, he goes, if you look at all Auburn's contributors, he's one of the few that'll be back next year.
That's right.
So, I mean, he was like, I don't know how much that is playing into it. Like if Bruce is just looking at the future and saying, basically, Todd Pettiford and Jahki Howard are just about it from this team unless something changes.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point.
I had not thought of it in those
nothing's
terms
a guarantee in today's transfer portal.
That's right.
Stephen was making that point about how they're, having to, they got 3 good recruits coming in. They're going to be big in the portal in the offseason. But that's why you squeeze the orange as much as they're squeezing it on Jahki Howard, because the juice will be worth it coming up next year. So basketball tonight, Auburn LSU, 6 o'clock SEC Network, Alabama Mississippi State, 8 o'clock SEC Network. Set your alerts. 2 post-game shows immediately after each game tonight with Little T and myself. Basketball last night, after we tell you about a couple of our great sponsors, one of them is our buddy Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing. I told you yesterday, Greg, the insurance claiming system on some roofs, especially older roofs, like if you've got a roof that's 6-7 years old, maybe the way storm damage claims are done has changed a little bit, and Greg wants to help you learn more about what maybe your insurance or what your coverage needs to look like to have your roof covered. He'll come out and give you a free no-cost roof inspection and talk insurance with you. 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531. 20 years plus, locally owned Storm Restoration Roofing, a local guy. He and his wife run and own the company, and he understands that the changing insurance landscape on your roof, if it's 7 years or older, you probably need to talk to Greg, get it inspected. He'll do that roof inspection absolutely free, no obligation. 205-542-3531, A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. His relationships with the insurance companies and his knowledge helps you so much. Storm damage, storm repairs, roof replacement. He does it all. It's all right there. 205-542-3531 or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. And also our friends at New York Butcher Shop.
New York Butcher Shop, just a great place to stop in, pick up a couple of steaks on your way home. Of course, if you're looking for a big-time lunch, they've got those huge deli sandwiches. Stop in, see Jim, the great staff, 2 locations, Cahaba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. Pre-prepared meals as well. Fantastic selection of great desserts and fantastic wines. Rare quality, well-done service. One-stop dinner shop. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
Let me close the loop on this real quick. Denver Jones and Chad Baker-Mazar, because it's being talked about in the chat room, both have a junior college in their background.
Ooh.
So the Diego Pavia rule becomes really, really big for them. I guess we're going to call it the Diego Pavia rule. He's the one that challenged it.
That's right.
That becomes big for them. So there is a path where both those guys could be back at Auburn next year if indeed that is upheld and it applies to everyone, which I don't know how it wouldn't apply to everyone.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jefferson is returning linebacker at Alabama off of that same rule right now. And, Alabama's counting on him at linebacker.
I don't know.
Vandy's counting on him at quarterback.
Heck yeah, they are.
Pavia at quarterback.
He's their day one starter. I don't know if it's like I have to apply for it or if it's just a blanket coverage where that year doesn't count anymore. I don't know how it all works.
Even through appeals, I think they have gone ahead and said for next year, that rule is you get that year back for at least 1 year so that you can manage your rosters and people can make plans, even if it's not upheld long term. They've already said next year you're good to go.
So they could be grandfathered in even if it's not upheld. So that would be huge if you get both those guys back.
Yeah, if they choose to do that.
So I just wanted to close that up and not leave that hanging out there.
Okay, to basketball last night. You tell me, Lance. You watched the ability to gamble, bet, project, predict all sports. And I don't really understand baseball gambling, and it's 162 regular season games. But is college basketball the toughest to predict? Because I'm sitting here last night.
And I have traditionally, for whatever reason, and again this year, my best winning percentage is in college hoops.
You always said you got to have tough intestinal fortitude.
Well, I mean, I lost. I had Miami of Ohio -10 last night.
Okay, but I'm sitting here. Okay?
Just saying that all these games come down to the number.
Biggest profile last night. Highest profile game was Kentucky, number 12 in the country, at number 8 Tennessee, and that number was pretty big at 10.5.
It went up to 11.
It went up to 11, and as we get closer to the game, and I'm ready to throw a little moolah down at mybookie.ag, promo code next round, I said to myself, well, I wonder why it's so big. And then I see, no Lamont Butler for Kentucky? and their backup point guard's not playing either. Andrew Carr, who ended up only playing 2 minutes, had a bad back.
Yeah, he's been battling the back for the last 3 or 4 games. Fourth leading scorer, second leading rebounder in Carr.
Yeah,
I mean that's big minutes that Mark Pope is missing.
And Butler's huge. And I said, well, that's why the number is so big. And they're on the road at Tennessee. Tennessee's not going to lose 3 or 4 games. So I made a wager at Tennessee. Not only did they not cover the 10.5 or 11, which happens all the time, right? I could see, Tennessee wins by 9. You don't win the bet, but Tennessee wins the game. Tennessee doesn't even win the freaking game. Kentucky wins the game outright.
Well, Kentucky, all 5 starters in double figures. They shoot 50% from the floor, 12 of 24 behind the arc, and then Tennessee shot like Tennessee shoots. Tennessee, 34% from the field. And Jahki Ziegler, we talked to him with Stephen Pearl yesterday. I mean, he is one of the savvy vets. Pearl brought up the fact that Rick Barnes said that he wanted to extend his career to coach a guy like Ziegler. But Ziegler, in 9 straight games, has not shot over 38% in any of those 9 games. Wow. As good as he is, he's just not shooting the basketball well. The North Florida transfer in Chaz Lanier, everybody said this is going to be this year's Dalton Knack. Once he got to league play, it has fallen apart. Now, he had 15 last night, but it took him 14 shots to get 15 points. But they shoot 34%. They shot 45 threes last night, which is un-Tennessee-like, 11 of 45.
I've got them at 13 of 41 on uncontested shots.
Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah, against air. As we say in football.
13 of 41, Brown. Tennessee shooting like that doesn't usually surprise you. They usually drag the other team down to shooting like that too, and it didn't happen last night.
Well, and now Tennessee is going to be the monster in the movie that you could shoot all these times and he doesn't die. They are still 4th in the net. Still 4th in the net, which if you just strictly go by the net, they're a 1 seed. That does not look like a 1 seed to me. Yeah. They're still 6th in the Ken Palm. Like the analytics love them.
Lenardi has them as a 2 seed.
As a 2 seed,
to your point, they're right there. Yeah.
All right. But here, if I'm a Tennessee fan, is what's alarming to me is I'm not, my offense stinks. I have lost 3 out of 4 at Vandy, at Auburn, and at home Kentucky. Here's my stretch I'm about to have to play right now.
Yeah, who's coming to town this weekend, by the way?
That'd be the Florida Gators. Are they any good?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good Florida team right now.
Well, haven't we seen Florida and Tennessee before?
It was a 30-point beatdown in Gainesville.
By the way, Florida bye in the middle of the week this week, so rested. You know who they're getting back likely this weekend? That kid that shattered his leg up at the SEC tournament. Remember, was that the Auburn game? Early in the Auburn game?
I think so, yeah.
It was.
Yeah, at the SEC tournament. And he was one of their big players. I had the name written down yesterday. But he's one of their bigs inside that runs the floor. He's expected, could have come back this last weekend, still didn't feel comfortable enough mentally to do it on the leg, expected to be back this weekend.
So you get Florida, then you turn around and the midweek you get Missouri, who's playing exceptional basketball.
Home or away?
It's home, but okay. I mean, what does that matter? I mean, they lost last night to Kentucky at home. You're at Oklahoma, then you're at Kentucky, host Vandy, at Texas A&M. I mean, that is a difficult it's an SEC straight, so it's going to be difficult.
Right.
My point is, Rick Barnes has to square this thing away in a hurry, or they are going to start taking on some serious water.
Yeah, look, and you're used to, at times, Tennessee not shooting the basketball well and still finding a way to win the game. But Tennessee wins all the hustle boards. Blocks, steals, rebounds. They only turned the ball over 3 times last night, and they still lose at home. Yep. That's hard to believe. And you got to give Mark Pope a lot of credit because it looked like Kentucky losing 3 of their last 5 had taken on a little bit of water. But I think Kentucky – did I see this right for the first time in program history already has beaten, I forgot how many top 10 teams?
They've got 6 AP top 15 wins. But, yeah, most top 10 wins in program history in one season.
That's amazing in year one under Pope.
And 4 of those top 15 AP poll wins have come on the road, including at Mississippi State when it happened and now at Tennessee.
Yeah, look. We laugh about Tennessee being hard to watch. It is hard to watch basketball, but it's starting to catch up with them a little bit, it looks like. Like, they've had the defense in the past. Where are they in Ken Palm's defense? They've had the defense in the past to dig out of this. Their defense still is number 2.
Yeah. Remember, they just held Auburn to 53.
I know.
I mean, Auburn and Tennessee's numbers helped out a lot in that one game this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, your top
defenses
are Houston, Tennessee, and Duke right now, 1, 2, and 3. St. John's, of course, under Rick Pitino at 4th.
Yeah, Auburn's not far off. They're top 25.
Auburn's defense currently is 11th.
Yeah.
But they got the number 1 offense.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll talk more about that number later on in the show that Brown always tells you. 13 teams in his window of adjusted offensive and defensive efficiency, top 40, top 25 on defense, that has produced the national champion since 2002, every year since 2002.
It's undefeated.
We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later in the show. Also, last night in basketball, Pitt on a 9-0 run to end the game beat North Carolina, who's not in the tournament right now. And that would be a bad loss. And then back to it's so hard to predict game. LT, the other day in Orlando, Kansas beat UCF by 51 points on their floor. Last night we played at Fog Allen, and I think Kansas was only giving up teens. So, of course, they beat them by 51.
By the way, are you wagering as much as you did in your Montevallo days?
No.
You sound like it, doesn't he?
Yeah, Kansas in Central Florida. There outside of the state of Kansas, there were 20
How many
people
different
watching that
games
game.
did you wager on last night?
I straight up, I was on $5 here, $5 there on the Tennessee and on the Kansas game.
Will they let you pay $5?
Oh, you can bet 67 cents if you want at mybookie.ag.
I had online before that was $50 minimum.
Oh, no.
Not MyBookie.
Not mybookie.ag, but whatever you want. I had a 3-team parlay. St. Bonnie. I just took 3 underdogs and it hit.
You can't even name the other two. Did you hear that? I had a 3-team parlay. Who capped him? St. Bonnie.
Is this like you used to do on your Scantron multiple choice test back in school?
I did. I $15 total last night is what I bet. I ended up clearing $58.76 profit.
So you don't even know who you had?
It was 3 money line underdogs. Yeah, two of them.
There's one of those in every game.
2 of them, I think they were in the A10.
Okay.
Is that a conference?
Yeah, it's a conference.
Yeah, St. Bonaventure and one other. And
you want me to give you the A10 scoreboard last night? See if you can remember who
and I think I had BYU.
I watched some of that game.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. I think I had BYU. I think they were a slight dog when they went off. Anyway, my point being, Kansas giving only in teens after beating a team 51 on their floor. You're back at Fog Allen. It's 81-77. They barely win the game last night.
This Kansas team.
How do you go from a 51-point to a 4-point win at home? That's insanity.
Yeah, with Dickinson coming back for another year, getting a guy like Ryland Griffin. Zeke Mayo's a really good player, and Bill Self, you trust this guy. You just figured it would be. Look, and they're still borderline top 10 team, but there's just something off about Kansas. Yeah. And it really, to me, it really jumped out watching them against Houston on Saturday. Because I do think Houston is rounding into shape. But when you've got 6-point lead, under 30 seconds still in regulation, 6-point lead in overtime, and you find ways to blow both of those, that's hard to do.
Keith wants to know, is there a chance you've got a tease on the Senior Bowl and East-West game? You're going to tease those together?
Probably right now, it's not East-West anymore. It's National and American.
Is that the Shrine Bowl?
No, this Senior Bowl.
No, that's what he said, Senior Bowl in the Shrine Bowl, the East-West. He wants you to tease those.
I think East-West was this past weekend.
Oh, was it?
I think Colin McCord had a really good game.
Oh, you missed your window then.
No, I'm leaning Nationals in the over at the Senior Bowl right now.
The blue-gray, your family always went one side on that, didn't they?
Oh, yes. Yes. SEC power.
You play the under in the Kelly Tire blue-gray game.
I love it, too. I mean, it is not too recent that we were using the colors of Confederate and Union uniforms for a football game, the old blue-gray classic.
Blue-gray. I'll pull up the parlay win. You tell me about the great folks with the World of Wills. That event is coming up this weekend.
It is. It starts on Friday down at the BJCC, the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills. See custom classic cars, hot rods, trucks, and motorcycles new this year. Check out the exotic car exhibit. Plus, don't miss the BMX bike stunt team performing outrageous stunts live each day. And kids, meet your favorite costume characters and race Hot Wheels at the free Hot Wheels Drag Track. Don't miss the Super Show, one-of-a-kind vehicles from across the country. Get your discount tickets today at any O'Reilly Auto Parts stores, and all the details at worldofwheels.net.
Oh, BYU. I hit 1-2 parlays last night.
Well, look at this, Lance. Yeah. He's hot.
5 to win 15. So a couple of these were easy money lines, but Pittsburgh, A&M, Notre Dame, and BYU turned me a...
Yeah, Pitt was my like last night. We got lucky on that.
Yep. And then this was my money line. This was the big one, 5 that won me $58. I had St. Bonnie's. I remembered that one. I had St. Louis, slight dog.
This is your Saint parlay?
And I had Marquette. So that was another winner there. Lost freaking Tennessee at home and lost Kansas, not beating a team they beat by 51. So
Shaka Smart was upset at Marquette at the half. I don't know how much of that game you watched on FS1 in 4K, by the way.
He thinks they're
he did not like their first half performance.
Basketball in 4K not as good as football.
It is not.
It's really not.
It's weird. I pulled it up that's the only reason I was watching that game is because I went to the 4K options. I'm like, oh, we got a little Marquette and Butler.
Yeah. Would you say by next year everything's in 4K?
I don't know. I mean, they're still so limited even on YouTube TV, but I pulled it up and I'm like,
the national championship game wasn't in 4K, I don't think.
It was. I watched it.
Yeah.
There was something. Maybe it was
the AFC was not.
Yeah, one of the championships was.
NFC was. AFC was not.
That's right.
So I pulled that game up at 4K right as they were going to half. And you're right. Basketball just, I don't know what about it is not as good on 4K as football.
Baseball's really good in 4K. Really good. Okay. Nate Oats in the next segment. One trivia note here. You tell me, do you want a college football trivia or an NFL trivia? Right here.
I'll take college football for 500.
I'll take
Alex.
NFL for 500, but I'll since Brown jumped in first,
we'll do the NFL one later on.
Yep.
This is from Pick Six Previews on Twitter. I don't know who did the research, but this is where I got it from, so I'll give them credit. Pick Six Preview on Twitter. 3 programs, only 3 college football programs, are in the top 10 in every interval you do of all-time wins. Most wins in the last 5 years, most wins in the last 10 years, most wins in the last 25 years, most wins in the last 50 years, most wins in the last 100 years, and most wins all time. Only 3 teams are in the top 10 in all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those intervals. Who are they?
Alabama,
Notre Dame.
You said what?
I said Alabama. I said that we said the same teams. You said them in different
Michigan,
orders.
Alabama, Notre Dame.
Yeah. Ohio State's
you guys have one of them correct.
That's Michigan.
It's Alabama. Oh. Alabama's the only one. Most wins.
He's asking you the question.
No, that's
Alabama's
true.
going to be the answer.
5, 10, 25, 50, 100 in all time. Alabama is there. With Michigan and Notre Dame not being in the interval, who's next?
Ohio State.
Ohio State is one. The one that surprises me is the
next.
Third one. It's not Boise State or somebody like that.
It can't be if it goes that far back.
It's a power conference team. So you got to think. It's easier if you think.
Is it USC?
It is not. It is not. It's easier if you think the recent.
Well, you
window,
said it surprises you.
The 5. It's easier if you think of it this way.
Georgia?
It is Georgia.
How about that? I did not realize they were that close on all-time wins.
Yeah, so they're a top 10 in all time. And 5, 10, 25, 50, 100 in all time. Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia are the only ones that are in the top 10 in all those intervals right there. So, I guess, Michigan misses out either on the 5 or the 10 or the 25 window because they are the all-time winningest program. So I just thought that was weird that Georgia, it wasn't the Alabama, Ohio State that surprised me there. It was the Georgia one.
Yeah, actually the Michigan and Notre Dame surprised me that they're not there.
But when you think about like Notre Dame in the last, the last 5 years, are they a top 10 in wins?
The last 5 years?
Yeah.
I mean, they got to be pretty close.
Yeah, they got to be close.
Yeah.
Or in Michigan.
Because what was the year they lost to Alabama in the college football playoff?
Well, they lost to them in 2020 in the Rose Bowl that was played in Dallas.
Yeah,
right.
So that's within the 5-year window.
Yeah, that's in the 5-year window. And so they've played in 2 playoffs in 5 years.
Just thought it was interesting, Alabama, Ohio State. You throw Notre Dame, you throw Michigan in there. You got some of the all-time winningest programs. And then there's Georgia, who I didn't know. I knew their recent success, but I guess all time. I didn't know Georgia had rang that bell that much throughout the history of college football. Congratulations, you Georgia Bulldogs, you red and black coming down the track guys. All right, when we come back, Nate Oats is part of the show. Some more college basketball for you, brought to you by our friends at Johnston RV. Talking about somebody who loves college basketball.
Oh, man, Nick and the guys at Johnston RV. You kidding me? I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. You'll also find them at the Von Braun Center for the Huntsville RV Show, Friday 10 to 7, Saturday 10 to 7, Sunday 10 to 5, then at the BJCC. Valentine's Day weekend, the 14th through the 16th. And don't forget, while you're there, deeply discounted pricing, special financing rates, gift cards to use in the camp store. But anything you find at the shows, they're going to have on the lots as well. How about that Wolf Pup 16 LP, just $129 a month with approved credit? Deals like that at JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC. With customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall. Sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only, meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday, it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday, meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
When the clock hits 0, go to all Next Round video platforms for instant reactions for the latest Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Follow, like, subscribe, and set those alerts. The madness starts now, so be a part of it at Next Round Live on all social platforms.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Back with you on the Next Round. Show always brought to you by our wonderful friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, and all the great beverages from Adams Beverage as well. I had some friends by earlier, and I said, "Hey, you guys want a beer?"
That the keg?
And they were like, "If we were at an airport or a casino, yes," because we decided, at that point, airports and casinos, there's really no rules and no clocks.
Well, there's no shame at all.
Yeah.
I mean, if you walk into, like, there's some local breakfast joints, and I just assume it's people working third shift that are in there having a beer with scrambled eggs.
Yep.
But if you see that in an airport, I mean, it's just not a big deal at all.
That's right.
Well, but you also never know what time zone that person's body is on, right?
That's right.
I mean, they could be from Europe.
Yeah, it could be an all-nighter.
Yeah, and it's just a layover in Atlanta, and it's 7 o'clock on their
But I
body
used
clock.
to be so on edge about flying, I would make a cocktail on my way to the airport. It didn't matter. When we were going through our final week, and I wasn't there for the final couple of days of terrestrial radio with you guys back in June of 21.
Forgot about that. You were in Montana.
I was in Montana.
Yeah.
I took Leighton for her birthday, and I remember we were on the way to the airport at 5 a.m.
Brown and I were like, don't worry, we got this.
Yeah. We'll have a handle.
We didn't know what was going to happen. We had no idea.
Yeah.
And I've still got that video of my last walk up the stairs over at the Cumulus, the Crest building back then. And I've still never gone back and looked at that, but because I had an idea or a feeling that it might be the last show ever. But anyway, my point is the next day when I fly out, it's like 5 a.m. and I've got a cocktail. Just because I was uneasy about flying. So I think there's a lot of that, too.
Oh, sure.
There's a lot of boredom in the airport.
Yeah. I'll never forget the disastrous trip that Lance and I were taking to meet you in L.A. for Auburn, Florida State. You were already out there. You went out early so that we were certain we could get a show on. And then Lance and I did the show from the studio and came out the next day. And we had a disastrous travel day. And it started with our flight getting canceled at the gate in Birmingham, but Lance had already lubed himself up for the long cross-country flight.
Back
then I had to drive it back home.
No, we had to go to, we did that. But then the next day we had to go from Birmingham to Charlotte, Charlotte to Vegas
to Pasadena.
Yeah, to Pasadena. I mean,
to not even LAX, right? Not even the big airport.
No, actually we got lucky there. We flew to John Wayne, which is out where we stayed in Newport Beach, out in Orange County. That was the best part of the trip, was the Vegas to John Wayne. That's a short flight.
Yeah. Travel is fun, and we appreciate our friends at Bud Light.
But they did ask me today. They were like, "Well, do you have any coffee?" And I'm like,
"Huh."
I was like, I don't think it. He's like, "I thought y'all had your own coffee," and I was like, "I think we did." I was like, "The only person I know up here that drinks a little coffee is Forster and Dunaway, but I don't know if anybody drinks coffee." And they're like, "What do you guys drink before 11 o'clock?"
Yeah, a lot of water, but
Diet Coke.
Forster and I have a cup every morning. Not of our coffee always, but sometimes we brew some coffee in here. Forster can work the coffee machine in the green room. Should have let him know.
That's right.
Well, he's busy, man. It was before the show. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, so if
I got time for coffee.
Yeah.
I always.
No, but when is the last time we made a
coffee.
pot up here? It's been a long time, right?
It hadn't been that long.
No.
Okay.
He and I do it occasionally.
Maybe a couple of weeks.
I'll make one for the smell one day.
Yeah, if I don't swing by or he doesn't swing by, one of us swing by and grab each other a cup of coffee. Occasionally, one of us is running late and craving coffee that we will make, or he'll make one.
I was going to say, we?
Yeah. Wow. Well, you waited
The
on
gym buys me a lot of coffee. I do appreciate it.
You waited on that opportunity to kick me right there, didn't you?
So we are still using the corner that is tackying up our green room. That is all the coffee stuff.
Wow.
Because I'd love to get rid of it if you guys aren't using it.
I mean, feel free to get rid of it. We'll tacky up another room.
No, but I'm just saying.
We'll put it back in the
do
production room.
Do you pick up the coffee or do you actually do it here?
Most of the time, we pick it up.
Okay, so we can 86 that then.
You can do whatever you want to do.
Perfect.
Whatever you want to do. Our show brought to you by our friends at DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com. The Legend, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban, is the latest work from Daniel A. Moore. Got some great basketball works and football works over the years. The Legend, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban and his 6 national championships. You see it on your screen right there. Promo code TNR. You get calendars every year. Other works, including Deuces Wild most recently. That's coming out, and there'll be more in the future. But go back and check some of the great historical ones out. You can find it all at DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com. While we wait on Nate Oats, who's scheduled to be with us in 7-10 minutes or so here in this segment, as Alabama gets ready tonight to play Mississippi State, a battle of 2 top 14 teams in college basketball. Last night, Texas A&M, nationally ranked, beat Oklahoma 75-68. Texas A&M is the best offensive rebounding team in the country, and I think they rebounded 46% of their missed shots last night. I mean, when you get a second look at almost half of your shots.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to lose a game, isn't it?
I don't know if I've seen a rebound differential like that, 47-19.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's insanity.
Yeah, that's probably what you saw Alonzo Mourning in high school going against another team. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
like I can't. I mean, to have that kind of discrepancy, minus 28 or plus 28, depending on how you're looking at it.
Any coach would tell you, whether it's Porter Moser or anybody, at some point that's just effort, isn't it? I mean, height will play a role, but everybody's got tall players. That at some point it's just effort.
That's right. Sometimes it's Mark Sears or LeBaron Philon that's in there getting a rebound for Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Georgia wins last night over South Carolina. South Carolina hasn't won an SEC game yet. They've been close in a lot. 71-60. Asa Newell, 17-10 for Georgia. Georgia, now, again, I just told you that LSU's home game in Baton Rouge against Auburn tonight is a quad one game for Auburn at this point. Georgia just got their third SEC win. They're 3-5 in the SEC, and they are comfortably in the NCAA tournament. Not even anywhere close to a bubble, and they're 3-5 in the league. They were 2-5 in the league and comfortably in the tournament going into that game last night. Now that loss, if they'd lost that game last night, then we'd start.
What is it going to look like when you have 7 and 11 teams in league?
I don't know, but
that's where we're headed, though.
Yeah. Georgia's 35th in the net, so they are a long way from not being in an NCAA tournament.
Right. You look at Lenardi, Bracket Matrix, any of the services you want to go to, and Georgia is knee-deep in the NCAA tournament, and they're 3-5 now after the win last night in the league. You get Texas and Ole Miss tonight, 8 o'clock on ESPN2, and a really good Xavier-Creighton game tonight at 7 o'clock on FS1.
Yeah, it's a big game for Ole Miss. They have not backed up that trip to Tuscaloosa well at all. And at some point, Chris Beard's got to get that team headed back in the right direction, because I think you guys were like me. Coming out of that game in Tuscaloosa, I didn't think Ole Miss could win the conference. But if you had told me that night that Ole Miss didn't have to play until Friday in Nashville, I would have believed you. I'd believe they're good enough to get that double bye in Nashville.
Yeah, I thought Ole Miss, and look, this still could be the case, but I thought after the Alabama win, watch out, this team's going to get better and better. They're going to build on that road win.
Negative.
And they've lost 3 consecutive games. Now, look, they've all been really tight games, 2 of those games on the road. 1 possession games against Mississippi State and A&M. By the way, back to A&M, Wade Taylor's getting his legs under him. This A&M team, to me, to blow a 22-point lead on Saturday and to bounce back and win in the fashion they did, dominating the boards last night, I think A&M is going to be a tough out towards the end of this. But Ole Miss has had difficult games, but they do need to get a get-right game.
Interesting tonight for Nate Oats. If he wins tonight, he will tie the Alabama coaching record for most AP top 25 wins in a coach's career. If he wins tonight, it'll be his 25th already in Tuscaloosa win over an AP top 25 team, tying our buddy Wimp Sanderson, who had 25 in his career.
Well, not to take anything away from Wimp, because Wimp had an incredible career. I just don't think he had the opportunity as much as Nate. I mean, with where the SEC is now and the way you schedule out of conference, I mean, you have the opportunity to play 15 top 25 teams a year.
In all fairness to Wimp and coaches who came before him, the committee back in the day, the selection committee, didn't do the metrics like they do now, and they put a lot of value in 20 wins. You get that 20th win, 21 win back when I was a kid. You were an NCAA tournament team if you were in a good conference. So getting to 20 wins, 21 wins was a big deal before we started crunching all these computer numbers and everything.
Yeah, because Wimp did that. He did not schedule the way Nate Oats does.
He actually, played not the same, but he played some really good out-of-conference games.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
It wasn't stacked game on game on game.
Yeah, but who
game.
did back then?
Well, I mean, and to Jim's point, there was no the tournament didn't seed the way they do now.
Yeah.
Or, not necessarily seed, but they didn't pick teams the way they do now.
Well, Wimp would take his teams to the Great Alaskan Shootout and play Patrick Ewing in Georgetown and those teams out of conference. But another thing is, in SEC basketball, they just weren't as many top 25 teams as you have this year. I mean, what was it yesterday? This week we got 10. So I mean, you're racking up.
No, you're right. The conference is better now.
You're racking up top 25 wins all the time.
Yeah, conference is bigger and better.
But a chance for Nate Oats tonight to get that 25th win against an AP top 25 team that would tie Wimp Sanderson for the most in Alabama basketball history. The show being brought to you today in part by our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. If you want to jumpstart your weight loss, you can do that. with Leslie and her board-certified team. The website is aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Go check it out right there. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. No contracts, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is absolutely free. Blood pressure control, weight loss, whatever you want to do, they will help you out. It is aplanforme.com. Again, SEC basketball tonight. Texas and Ole Miss, 8 o'clock on ESPN2. Number 1 Auburn is at LSU, 6 o'clock on the SEC Network. And then the big game on the SEC Network involving Alabama, Mississippi State. That's 2 top 14 teams tonight, Brownie.
And the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide is Nate Oats. He joins us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Welcome in, Coach. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. I know it's a game day for you. I hope you know how much we appreciate you making time for us on a game day. Must mean you've got all the work done already, right? It's just relaxing from now until tonight.
We with these, there's so many games and stuff out there. It's always like, should I watch one more? Should I watch one more? we got a lot of the work done. I never feel like we quite got it all done.
Your team, the metrics say this, and you obviously look at metrics way more than us idiots, but the metrics say this, the eyeballs say it. This team likes playing on the road. What is it about this team that makes it a good road team? It seems like maybe even better than playing in Coleman Coliseum of late.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, sometimes guys internal, whatever makes them tick, likes to go into a place it's a little hostile, kind of shut them up. I don't know if the guys or if it's just been, I will say we've had some really good road wins. We've also had some road loss. We went to Purdue and didn't play very well. We played at home against Ole Miss and didn't play well. So we haven't played well at both places. We have had a chance to play decent on the road and have done so various times. So we'll see. Mississippi State's a really good team, and it's not an easy place to play, though.
Look, I know you're probably getting sick of the topic of Mark Sears nonstop, but if we were to ask you, where is the relationship between Nate Oats and Mark Sears right now, and has it changed at all over the last couple of months?
Yeah, I mean, look, me and Mark had a really good talk yesterday after practice. I thought he put together 2 of the best practices. Honestly, he's had some really good practices, but he hasn't done it back-to-back like he has the last 2 days going into tonight's game. So, I'm proud of him. He's doing what we're asking him to do. He's 22 years old. He's a grown man, as am I. The 2 of us talk through what's expected, and I think he knows exactly what's expected, and he knows I love him, and he knows the whole team wants him here playing his best basketball. And sometimes you got to, on Hey Coach the other night, I kind of equated it to I'm trying to get in shape we do this fat loss contest every January with the staff, and I if I go in the weight room on my own, I don't get a whole lot done. But if I tell Henry we want to get a workout in, all of a sudden my workout's about 100 times better because Henry keeps pushing me and he goes about 100 times faster than I want to go. And I get a lot more done in 30 minutes or 45 minutes than if I go in there on my own. So sometimes you need somebody to push you a little bit. And, I try to read the proverb of the day. It tells you if as a parent you love your son, you discipline him. Well, I love Mark. Sometimes we need to push him a little bit, and I think he understands. We're just trying to push him, make him better, and I think he's going to be a lot better for it.
You mentioned the players wanted him there. I'm watching the bench in the second half the other night, and Aiden Holloway sits next to him. At one point is talking and patting him on the leg. Grant Nelson actually put his arm around him one time and was talking and comforting him or coaching him up or whatever was going on there. What does that tell you about the closeness of your guys to see a Holloway, a Grant Nelson, a Chris Youngblood go by there and spend some time with Mark Sears when they weren't in the game in the second half?
I think we've got really good guys, including Mark. I think they all know, they've all said they want to hold each other accountable. Talked about the leadership this team needs, that the accountability it needs. They talk about building the right habits. Those kind of 3 words we've kind of embraced over the last month. And I think guys know, we teach it too. Part of our selfless love, our core value is if you really love somebody, you want what's best for them. Whether it's good times or bad times, the Mudita thing's real. Guys really do get happy for each other and feel real joy when other people are successful. So, and they know he's our our best scoring option. So we've got other really good scoring options, but he's the one that's proven to be the best scoring option. He can also really guard when he puts his mind to it. And, he can also lead, which he's shown this year when he decides that's what he wants to do. So we need his leadership. We need his defensive ability. We need his playmaking ability to be the best team we can be. They all know it. They all love him. They're trying to make him better. They're trying to help him out. So I think we got a really good group of guys.
Okay, Coach, last Mark Sears question for me, but any correlation between the Illinois second half of him sitting back in November and him sitting the second half against LSU?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different. Yeah, I mean, there's some correlation because he sat, and then I thought we kind of talked through some stuff and got it figured out same way this way. The circumstances were much different though back then. I think that was more him trying to find his role in the offensive end. I think he's done that. He's been really, really good for us on the offensive end. This is a little bit different circumstance that way, but I think, shoot, Mark Sears is one of the best basketball players ever played at Alabama. We're just trying to get him to reach his potential, but he's got bigger goals than just being one of the better players to play at Alabama. We want to do things as a team that never been done around here, and he wants to be better than just a really good college basketball player. So he's got to be held to a little bit higher standard, and that's what we're doing here.
Coach Nate Oats with us, Alabama, Mississippi State tonight. Chris Jan's team has been you mentioned it's a tough game. He's got him in the top 25. This guy has been nothing but a good basketball coach. What do his teams do? And I think you coaches think of him as a really good defensive coach. What do his teams do that makes it difficult for you?
Yeah, I mean, they play really hard. Look, so Jans was a head coach at Bowling Green back when I was an assistant at Buffalo. And I mean, everybody grows as a coach over time, but I think there's some base things that coaches do no matter where they're at. And I think the stuff he does really, really well is he gets his teams to play ridiculously hard and they're really tough. So that hasn't changed. It's been the case for all of his teams everywhere I've known him. And they're continuing to do that. They get a kid, Cam Matthews, I think one of the best, rebounders, tough guys. He's gotten more skilled. They're playing him in more pick and rolls, but he's got Hubbard who really scores it. I think, James' offense has evolved as, a lot of coaches do, but I think this offense has gotten really better. He's kind of modernized it, a lot more 5 out. They don't throw it in the post nearly as much. So, they've got some really good, Harris, Hubbard, Melendez, some really good perimeter guys go with Matthews, and they got good, tough bigs. They got a kid, Keyshawn Murphy, from up there in Birmingham that's been scoring double figures off the bench. So, well, we've got our hands full, but, we've seemed to answer the bell when it comes to playing some of these tougher teams. So we're just going to have to step up and do it again.
There's no better league in the country, and I don't think there's a better defensive league in the country than the SEC. But I'm looking here, Aiden Holloway is shooting 63.8% in SEC play. What's clicking for Aiden right now in his shot? It's such a beautiful shot.
Oh, no, he can really shoot it. I think he found where to get the appropriate shots in our offense. He got comfortable with it. Last game, his field goal percentage took a little bit of dip. Sears wasn't playing the second half. I think, that speaks to what Mark does for the rest of the guys on the team when he's in there. He can really attract a lot of attention, which opens up better shots for his teammates when the ball's moving. But, Aiden's really a really, really skilled player. He's one of the better shooters I've ever coached, like right at the top. And we've been able to get him open, shoot, and then he takes appropriate shots. I mean, he's finishing the shots he takes at the rim because he takes the appropriate ones. He's taking appropriate threes he can make. And for a guard I think he's second in SEC in field goal percentage right now. He's first before last game. It's pretty impressive for a guard his size to be able to do that.
If I took you back to that marathon game against Memphis that we did on TV with you in the preseason when nobody could foul out, we were there for like 3.5 hours, freezing under that ice under the court. That was our experience. I don't know what your experience was. But if I told you this is what you got out of Aiden Holloway, is this what you expected? 21 minutes a game, 11 and a half a game?
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, that 3-hour game was a debacle. Yeah.
That was brutal, Coach.
That was like the day after they sent the memo out that we need to stop fouling in the league, and that the refs were going to call the fouls tighter. So I think maybe they should resend the memo out. Like today morning.
One of the refs came over and told us at the table, like, hey, nobody's going to foul out anymore. And Lance said, well, that should be fun. And the ref said, for who?
Yeah, I was being very sarcastic when I said that. Hey, so I know you're high on Chris Youngblood. He gets to start against LSU. Should we expect Youngblood moving forward to be in that starting lineup?
Yeah, you know what? We're kind of in flux right now. LeBaron had a little injury. Youngblood's back healthy. We're trying to figure it out. Look, whoever starts, we got about 7 or 8 guys that probably deserve to start, to be honest with you. But, I don't think the starts to the games have been our issue as much as the starts to the second half. And I've made it pretty clear to the guys that I'm not starting the same 5 starters the first half and the second half necessarily. Now, if those are the 5 guys that we think will give us the best start to the second half, we will. But we may be switching up starting lineups to start the second half here moving forward just to make sure we have way better starts to the second half than what we've been having. I think what Chris does is bring an intensity, a leadership, an accountability factor to the guys on the floor. So whether it's the start of the game or the start of the second half, I would anticipate him being in there a little bit more for at least one of those 2 starts, if not both.
I can't hear the conversation, but I've noticed now lately when you walk out to meet the other head coach before the start of the game, they obviously are not dressed like you are. You still dress to the nines, as my grandfather used to say. Are they joking and making a comment to you about, man, you're dressed up and I'm here in a quarter zip? Or are you getting comments about your wardrobe lately?
You know what? Most of them don't. I mean, I think, look, and no disrespect to them because the NBA is doing it, but I want to look a little bit different than a glorified PE teacher. Although sometimes that's what I think. That's what I think I am sometimes. A little bit of an ode to Wimp with the Plaid Palace days, but so I mean, there's still a fair amount that are wearing. I didn't go back to the suit and tie. I just went to the sport coat and no tie, but I did a little bit different. Football coaches at least dress up in their suit coming to the game and stuff. We seems like the basketball coaches, a lot of them just gone away from any kind of dressing up. So there's still some that are doing it, and some I saw. We played Kentucky. Pope was all dressed up. I think he had the suit and tie on, and then last night all he had was the polo on or the quarter zip, whatever it was. So maybe some of them are picking certain games. I don't know. Maybe home games and away games. I don't really know what everybody's doing out there. But we're gonna go. We're gonna go to sport coat. And this week, I do got a little bit of issue. This week it's supposed to be suits and sneakers week to bring awareness to cancer. My mother's beat cancer twice. The awareness is suits and sneakers, which
that's right.
It doesn't quite look the same. So when you put sneakers on with a suit, it's what's going on, and then they ask questions. The quarter zip and sneakers, like there's nobody really.
It doesn't pop.
Nobody pays attention to that. Yeah,
that's my point.
Yeah.
So like, what is it? Suits and sneakers week or is it not? I thought it was suits and sneakers week. Maybe everybody should try to put the suits back on for a week and go with the suits and sneakers look.
Nate, this is very random, but yesterday it came up the most disliked coach in all of sports yesterday. Your friend, your mentor, Dan Hurley, is like universally that guy right now. Is he misunderstood or is he the dick he seems to be?
Listen, Danny got me and Bobby's brother. I worked for Bobby. I've never worked for Danny, but the two of them together got me in this business. I still talk to Danny pretty frequently. I've talked to him in the last couple of weeks. Matter of fact, we hadn't talked for a while, and then we talked, then he lost the game, and he immediately texted me after the game that I jinxed him. He's a little bit misunderstood. He's super intense, says some stuff that probably nobody else would say. But I say some stuff that people don't most other coaches wouldn't say either. It's just, maybe I haven't won at the level he has. Or his relationship with the refs, I think, tends to get him in that category a little bit too. So maybe that's part. I've tried to look. I don't have a T yet this year. I've tried to be a little bit better with the refs. I tried to. One of my other good friends is TJ Otzelberger. He doesn't say a word to the refs. So I'm very close to the two guys that are probably on the opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. But I love Dan. I think he's doing an unbelievable job. He's one of the best coaches. I mean, he made it clear that he thinks he's the best coach in the busince. If you want
that's right.
Championships. You can probably say that, but I don't. He's definitely a little misunderstood, but he wins a lot of basketball games, and his players love playing for him. And he's getting the job done at a pretty high level over there.
You can't be the most disliked coach in all of sports unless you're highly successful.
That's true.
That's right.
That's the way it is.
You got to win.
That's right.
I found that out. When I was a high school guy, the more I won, the more people didn't like me. When I'm here, the more I win, the more people don't like me. So,
check your guy TJ after Arizona hit that half quarter on him. He didn't move. He didn't move for like 30 seconds. He just stood there and stared at it.
That was tough. I texted with him after that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, do you foul with 2 seconds? Like the chance of hitting that shot so minimal.
I know.
I probably think he did the right thing. You probably don't foul there.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Good luck tonight. We really appreciate the time as always. Good talking with you.
All right, appreciate you having me on. Roll Tide.
Yep, take care. That is Coach Nate Oats, the head coach of Alabama, as they get ready for Mississippi State tonight over in Starkville. He was with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
All right, so we can put the Mark Sears thing to bed now, and they'll play a game tonight finally since then. And we'll see how
a fascinating game.
See how it goes. Oh yeah,
State has gone up to a 1.5-point favorite.
Have they now? Just moving on that interview. Huh?
Probably so.
4 versus 14 tonight, and 2 teams that are firmly into the NCAA tournament field. Mississippi State trying to get a huge win for their resume and their seeding when it comes to NCAA tournament time. That's at 8 o'clock tonight on the SEC Network, right after Auburn and LSU. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation, jump into a little college football. Our friends at The Athletic with some 2025 college football predictions. I'll read them out. You guys tell me on a scale of 0 to 100% your probability of them actually happening, okay? We'll have a little fun with that when we come back right here on TNR.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays. Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rowback. Go to rowback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, hour number 2 on the show. We appreciate Nate Oats being with us on game day. A couple of big games happening around the league tonight. 3 of them, in fact, involving ranked teams. You get a lot of that in the SEC. Auburn and LSU, Alabama and Mississippi State, and Texas and Ole Miss. Some bye weeks going on, midweek, not a whole week off, but these midweek byes that you get. That includes Florida, who doesn't play again until Tennessee this weekend. And Florida, of course, is one of the better teams in the country. In fact, before we move away from basketball and get back to college football, Brownie, you do this thing, and Little T updates it at some point throughout the week on social media at Next Round Live.
Mm-hmm.
It is, let me remember this, the top 40 offense on, it's the differential, and the top 25 on defense. And you got to be in the top 40 on offense, top 25 on defense. And since 2002, every year the national champion has fallen into that category. Is that sort of right?
That is correct, yes.
Wow.
And this is based on KenPom.
Right.
This is not based on like points per game or whatever. This is the adjusted KenPom rating. Basically, you're going to need to be a top 25 team defensively.
Right.
To pull this off. Do you want to give them to you?
I saw 13 this morning. Is it still 13
You
teams?
count as I read them out to you, all right? Okay. Houston?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by the way, Houston in this every single year. Every year. We never do this when Houston isn't in there, by the way.
They always win the national title.
They've hung how many banners? Tennessee.
Yep.
Tennessee.
We do this every year with Tennessee.
Thank you, defense, for Tennessee.
Yeah, lost 3 of the last 4.
Yep. Duke Blue Devils.
Okay.
Duke in there. One team that has had the best year they've had in a very long time is St. John's. Yep. They are not in this category, but
because of offense.
Because of offense,
defense is good.
You know, with Rick Pitino, they're going to play defense.
Yeah, they beat Georgetown last night. Georgetown barely scored.
Kansas is there. The Kansas Jayhawks.
I would be shocked if they're able to make it.
That does not look like a national championship team at all.
No, I'm getting to that point here, but let's comment on them after you give them to me.
Iowa State is there.
Okay.
Iowa State is there. Might be a surprise to some. You find Texas A&M in this group. Auburn is in this group.
Yep.
Illinois is in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Another team you'll find in this group every year is Marquette in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State, they spend a lot of time in this group as well.
Mm-hmm.
The Florida Gators here.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. The Purdue Boilermakers find themselves in this group of KenPom teams. Yep. The Arizona Wildcats, the teams that hit that half-court shot. The Maryland Terrapins.
Oh, okay, that's 14.
Are
more
in
than
this.
I had.
And that is the end of the story. Now, you will notice I did not include Alabama. They missed this on defense, and they miss it by about 20 places on defense. It's really 18 places on defense.
It was a bigger gap last year. And they made it to the Final
far
Four.
bigger gap last year.
Yeah, but this is only to win the national championship.
That's right.
And of those 14 teams, I think there's only 4 of them that I could see winning the national championship. Kansas isn't one of them.
I would not say that. No,
it just doesn't look like a team that can do it. Iowa State is
I think Iowa
close,
State's really good.
is close for me. For me, it is Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston. You would throw Iowa State into that.
Yeah, I would throw Iowa State, and I do think sleepers to watch on that list: Marquette, A&M, and Florida.
A&M to go all the way and win the national championship.
I mean, I think they can make a Final Four run.
Yeah, I'm talking about winning it all.
Well, I mean, once you get there, I mean, hell, they're good enough. Yeah.
Once you get there, you just got to win 2 more games. It's so tough to win a championship.
It is.
Man.
Can I give you some just misses, and you tell me what you think of these teams?
Okay.
These teams just miss.
So they could
the
be,
criteria.
and this adjusts all the way through the tournament.
Yeah. So the way I understand this is once the national championship is contested, if you are in, they count it as this team was there, right?
That's right.
If you're in this criteria. Just missing on I say just missing on defense. They miss by a considerable margin, but Gonzaga, that might be a surprise to some because they're so good offensively.
Yeah, this team's not even winning its conference this year.
Yeah, they're 54th defensively.
I think this will be back-to-back years they don't win their conference.
Alabama misses, as I mentioned, 5th offensively, 43rd defensively for the Crimson Tide. Wisconsin, 8th offensively, 49th defensively.
This Wisconsin team is – Alabama's a championship contender. Wisconsin is not.
One team that is very, very close to getting in this, and we don't talk a whole lot about them, and frankly, I haven't watched a whole lot of them, is Texas Tech. I don't know how much you guys have watched the Red Raiders.
Yeah.
They are 12th offensively, 29th defensively. They just missed this by a hair. They are the closest next team out.
Yeah, almost played them tonight against TCU minus the 12, but stayed away from it.
Almost is the key there.
Michigan.
They are a good team, though.
Michigan, 17th offensively, 32nd defensively. They are very, very close. And I'll give you one more that is knocking on the door. They are quite close as Mississippi State, who Alabama plays tonight. Their profile is really, really good in terms of what we're talking about here. 19th offensively. And State is 37th defensively.
Surprisingly, it's the great defense of Mississippi State that's skewing them in
the
wrong direction.
Yeah.
I would have said it would have been offensively.
What you think of with Chris Jans?
Yeah. So fun basketball happening all over the place as we are on the countdown to March Madness. By the way, the national championship game will tip off at 7:50 Central Time. That's an hour earlier
Boy, it
than in the past.
To be on the East Coast.
Yeah, but that's still, man. That's
8:50 on the East Coast.
They were trumpeting though that it's 8:50 on the East Coast.
That was a good thing.
Yeah, because I think it's 20 minutes earlier than what it has been in recent years. There's been 9:20 in the East, 8:20 Central.
That's so late.
Yeah.
And that game ends up being a long game.
Oh yeah.
We were joking with Nate Oates about the game we did up in Huntsville against Memphis. It ended up being a 3-hour affair because nobody could foul out. But I'm telling you, man, we are seeing some longer and longer basketball games, and ESPN does not adjust. They still leave you a 2-hour window, as Auburn fans found out Saturday night when Kansas and Houston bled over into the start of the Auburn game there. We spend so much time at the monitors, we being officials, spend so much time at the monitors. These games just last longer and longer. And I wasn't extremely locked in, but I was watching last night during the Mississippi State during the
Kentucky
and Tennessee game, and they were talking about how they've got to adjust what can be viewed at the monitors at the end of the game. It's just way too much. It is constantly.
Yeah,
going to the
they
monitors.
did talk about inside of 2 minutes, let's start reviewing.
Yeah,
but
no reviews until that.
Yeah.
And really, that's the way it's supposed to be. They go to the monitors now. Outside of the last 2 minutes, a lot more than they should. But like touch out of bounds,
we're going to the monitor.
Anything I like that, it's not supposed to be done until the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost like the NFL does, where if it's the final 2 minutes, the review has to come from the booth. We need to do that with college basketball. It's final 2 minutes, we'll see who knocked the ball out of bounds. If it's 14-20 left in the second half, we're just going to go with the officials' call. We miss some, guys. We miss some. We're not robots. We're going to miss a few.
College football conversation after LT tells us about our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa.
Yeah, Woodhouse Day Spa, fantastic place to go. Like if you've got plans maybe this weekend, you want to hang out at the sports bar, you want to watch games all weekend, Send the wife or girlfriend to the Woodhouse Day Spa. She's going to absolutely love it. If you don't know what she wants, not a big deal. You can get those gift cards 24/7 at birmingham.woodhousespas.com. She can choose from a menu of over 70 options, from the waxing, nail service, skincare, body treatments, massages. Woodhouse Day Spa voted America's best day spa since 2009. Treat that special someone to the gift of luxury. Birmingham's best day spa, Woodhouse Day Spa, located at the Summit Shopping Centers. Stop in, see Stuart and that great staff. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information and to order online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Roughly around 30, 35 college football writers at The Athletic taking part in this poll, projecting some stuff for 2025. And I'm going to tell you who is the top vote getter for any of these questions. And then I want you to tell me the probability on percentages that you think this prediction by the Athletic writers come in.
Percent chance this happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Heisman Trophy winner, they vote, will be Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State. Give me a percentage that actually happens. 100% is guaranteed.
20%.
20%. It seems low for a wide receiver to win it.
Is he's not the odds?
You think 20%'s low?
I mean, compared to 100% being a guaranteed, 20% is low.
I'm just saying it's so difficult for wide receivers to win the award.
That was my point. That is low. That's why I'm saying it is low for a wide receiver to win this one. There's no way you can make that like a 50-50 proposition.
Oh, heavens no.
Yeah.
No, I was probably going to lower Lance 10 to 15% just because it's a wide receiver.
What if I said Arch Manning, though, who is the second most vote getter in this?
Well, he's going to – a couple of things. He's got a lot going for him.
Yeah.
He's got a great –
name.
He's got the name. He's got a ton of talent around him. He's got a great play caller. He's going to be your favorite going in. People are going to say what you want about Peyton not getting the award in 1998 or 1997. This is his nephew. I could see voters, hey, they want a Manning to win a Heisman.
The other side I could play on that, though, is it will almost be impossible for him to live up to the expectations. Don't you think?
The expectations will be through the roof.
They will be. I mean, like, he's one of those guys that he could only meet the expectations, not exceed them.
Well, I would just say if he meets what Quinn Ewers did last year, and let's not forget, this is a guy that won a couple of playoff games and had his team right on the cusp of playing for a national championship, those numbers aren't going to be good enough. Like Ewers' numbers,
if that's all Arch has, you're saying,
for a successful quarterback with Sarkisian, we're kind of pedestrian.
I would say Arch Manning 10 to 15%. I'd put him with the Jeremiah Smith numbers.
A team that missed the college football playoffs last year that you think will make it this year, the top vote getter from the Athletic, LSU.
I thought you were about to say Alabama. I would say LSU 20% to make the playoffs.
LSU to make the playoffs, I will go 40%.
See, I slide more with LT. I feel like this is they won the portal. They got Nussmeier back.
Yeah.
Improving defensive staff. They just, by the way, hired Lance Guidry, one-time Miami defensive coordinator, just to be a defensive staffer there. So they're trying to bring all hands on deck to make the defense better.
I think if you're looking for any teams that missed, it's going to be all SEC, right? It's going to be Alabama, LSU, maybe Ole Miss.
Alabama's the second most vote getter, and Miami is the third.
Just real quick, LSU at Clemson. Week 1, I think it'll be the primetime ABC game. I told you that the other day. Clemson favored by
2, 1 or 2.
That's pretty much toss-up.
This is arguably Dabo's best team
since
they lost to 2019.
Since Trevor Lawrence.
Since they lost to 2019 LSU in the national championship.
So since
game.
Trevor Lawrence, this will be the best team he's had.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be an unbelievable.
So I went lower than Lance on that one.
In fact, I'll go ahead and tell you, I think that's 2 playoff teams that played week 1.
Clemson and LSU?
Yep.
Not exactly out on a limb.
I would be shocked if one of the two is not a playoff team.
Yeah, I think both will end up being. Alabama, Miami on that list is the next top vote getters. And then BYU was 4th. Were you expecting a lot of BYU this year?
I wasn't this past year.
Retzloff's coming back, 11 wins last year. I mean, nobody gave BYU any credit this past year for going 11-2.
And they were right in the playoff hunt until the bitter end. Of course, just about everybody in the Big 12 was.
But they don't even have a schedule thrown out there yet.
BYU doesn't?
No. I haven't seen it.
It's the Big 12 schedule, so.
But you're saying they've
got one out of conference, and it's Stanford.
Wow, they got to get on it, Lance. This thing kicks soon. I've got their out of conference.
Okay.
It's Portland State. You're not going to get too excited, so don't think I'm going to give you something that's going to get you.
Tricky game, Portland State.
That's a tricky game?
I'm kidding.
Oh, Portland State, Stanford, and at East Carolina.
Wow.
That is a yucky out of conference.
Well, that tells you at East Carolina they were struggling to do an out of conference schedule.
Yeah, where are their away games in the Big 12?
At Arizona, at Cincinnati, at Colorado, at Iowa State, at Texas Tech.
I mean, Iowa State and Texas Tech are tough games, but
yeah, they get the old four home, 5 road this year in the 9-game conference schedule.
BYU is going to be in the mix.
This is the Athletic, which 2024 semifinalists most likely to miss the 2025 playoffs? So you had national champion Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas, and Penn State. Of those 4, who do you think the top vote getter was to miss the playoffs next year?
I think it was Notre Dame.
It was Notre Dame by a lot. What's the probability of that happening?
Them missing?
Yeah.
Oh, 70%.
Oh, that's pretty high.
I'd almost go 50-50 shot. I just think Notre Dame.
But again, their schedule is more difficult next year than it was this year.
It is.
Good point.
And you've got an unproven quarterback. I think Angeli's going to be good, but is he going to be Riley Leonard good?
As we talked about, if they had played this year's schedule or next year, the 2025 schedule in 2024, it would have been a fascinating schedule. They're catching the benefit of some teams losing players like Ashton Jeanty to the NFL. They play Boise State. Ashton Jeanty would have been a handful for them. Cam Ward in Miami, they open on that. What did you told me that was the Sunday night, right? Notre Dame at Miami?
Notre Dame, Miami, Sunday night.
I mean, you're missing Cam Ward. Now you're getting Carson back, but I mean, that's a downgrade from Cam Ward. So, yeah, and Syracuse as well, you're missing probably the best version of Syracuse that you're going to get in a while.
Kyle McCord
going to the NFL. So
Fran Brown's doing a great job in the portal and recruiting again. They got a Big Ten championship projection here from the Athletic. You want to talk about under the radar. Sharon Moore this year of Michigan. One person picked Michigan to win the Big Ten next year of the Athletic staff of 35 voters. Actually 40 voters. One person picked Michigan. Under the radar, Dan Lanning in Oregon, who won it this year, only 5 people. It's between 2 teams, Ohio State 13, Penn State 12, on the projection to win it.
Yeah,
it's either Ohio State or Penn State. I mean, you got good Oregon and probably better Michigan.
And James Franklin, that you're just, again, we just continue to ignore the fact he never wins these types of games.
And, Illinois is a team we're not talking about. How good will Indiana be next year? USC's got to be better.
It's a landslide on their projection who wins the SEC. Texas. 19 of their 40 votes.
I mean,
I would say 50-50 Texas wins it.
Georgia.
You'd go that high, huh? I don't know that I'd go 50-50.
Georgia's next.
That's again your guy Sark.
LSU is third. Alabama got 2 votes. Ole Miss got 1.
Nobody believes in the Tide, Dunaway.
Yep. Clemson runs away with the ACC. BYU runs away with the Big 12. I got to pay attention to BYU.
BYU runs away with the Big 12?
Yeah. In the voting.
Yeah. That's that's a conference. When it came down to the last 2 weeks, everybody in the conference was alive last year.
And you got Levitt back. You got the receiver back at Arizona State.
Tyson.
16-5 in the voting there, the gap between BYU and Arizona State.
Where was Utah on that vote?
No votes from the Athletic. Andy Staples had him in his
in the playoffs.
Yeah. Boise State easily the best group of 5. Navy second. And who will win the regular season games? A couple of these. Texas and Ohio State on August 30th.
In Columbus.
I will take Ohio State.
Probably your big noon kick. I'll take Texas.
21-9. The Athletic staff picks Texas on the road.
Texas does not stand a chance, do they?
Somebody save the graphic.
Yes.
And here are a few bold predictions from the Athletic. Scott Dockertman says after Notre Dame played 5 Big Ten opponents in 2024, the conversations quickly between the Irish leadership and the Big Ten brass about a union similar to what the Irish and the ACC has. They believe at some point the Notre Dame and the Big Ten will reach the agreement. Scott is saying he believes Notre Dame eventually will get out of their ACC agreement and have the same agreement with the Big Ten, where they play all sports in the Big Ten except for football.
And maybe a 4-game Big Ten conference schedule.
4-game Big Ten conference.
Yeah, because Notre Dame's never come to a conference now.
No, they will not. I don't know why they would after this year. But
that interests me because of Notre Dame, Michigan. That game is a great rivalry game.
Well, you get better games than we're getting with the ACC. I mean, you get Notre Dame, Oregon. You're already going to have Notre Dame, USC. Notre Dame, Penn State, which don't play a ton.
You're right. Notre Dame, USC, which is annual, could just be built into the cake of that's one of my 4 games.
But it would also force the Big Ten to go away from conference, even though it's a conference agreement. By the time they get to conference play, it is only conference play in the Big Ten. They don't dive out of conference.
But I mean, Notre Dame can go back to their Michigan State, USC.
Yep.
Which I guess the Big Ten's already going to have to get away from that because when Notre Dame and USC play in South Bend, it's always mid-season, and when they play in LA, it's always at the end of the season. Which I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, it is weird.
Like, did USC just basically say, "Look, we're from LA. We are not going to go up to South Bend in November and play"?
I think that was the discussion.
Was that the agreement?
Yeah.
And Notre Dame wanted to go out west?
Yeah, we'll take a vacation in November.
Well, Notre Dame used to not go to bowl games.
Right.
It was a school choice for years and years not to go to bowl games. So they would end their season in Los Angeles every other year, and it was sort of a bowl trip.
Okay.
To go play at
so
the
that
Coliseum.
was just old school, and they've never changed.
Yeah. And
I actually kind of like it.
It's exactly right that USC did not want to go up in November and play that game. So they go, what is it, early October?
Yeah, it's first couple of weeks of October, it seems like.
Yeah. Usually good fall weather, right?
Yeah, it's
not
cool,
cold.
but it's not snowing or anything like that.
Bruce Feldman's bold prediction, Florida makes the playoffs.
It's bold, but I mean, I could see it. I mean,
if they play like they played in November.
Yeah, again, it's a brutal schedule, but you got some runway there.
Sam Kahn Jr.'s, this is a bold prediction, he says. Auburn will finish in the top 25.
That's not bold.
Well,
Eight wins.
I mean, if they don't, Hugh Freeze is going to be on a massive hot seat.
I mean, Auburn fans would say, that's all? You finish in the top 25?
You probably could talk me into 50 teams making the college football playoff last year just based on what we saw this year because of the unknowns.
It was a roulette wheel at times.
I mean, because last year you could not have talked me at this point that Indiana was going to be a college football playoff team or Arizona State. Impossible.
Grace Rayner's bold prediction is that rivals Clemson and South Carolina will have 2 of the Heisman finalists in Cade Klubnik and Lenore Sellers.
Oddly, I believe more. Well, I don't know. I was going to say, oddly, I believe more in Lenore Sellers than Cade Klubnik. And
difference is the brand, though.
The brand hurts, and this just sounds like we're taking an easy shot. I'm just going to have to see a Mike Shula offense be competent before I can believe that Lenore Sellers could put up Heisman numbers.
I think Sellers snuck up on some people last year. He's going to be playing an SEC schedule as opposed to Cade Klubnik going against that ACC schedule. A little bit different.
Yep. And can South Carolina, they snuck up, not just Sellers, the whole team snuck up at times on people. That's The Athletic, just a handful of a big, long, in-depth article on some projections for 2025. Always great to take a look ahead to that. And I learned something today. I need to pay attention to BYU in the offseason.
I guess so.
Had not been on my radar. I need to go research BYU before we get to
Well, I don't think they were on your radar last year. And
they were not.
They were really close to being a college football playoff participant this year.
Yeah, you're right. They got on my radar pretty quickly, the way they played in September and October, and then they fell off. Our friends at Oats bringing you part of the show today, LT.
It is Wednesday night. That means me and Brown will be at the original location in Crestline. Come join us, Oats Team Trivia, every Wednesday night. 2 locations, though. You can get lunch or dinner at either. Live music every Friday and Saturday night. Not only the original location in Crestline, also the newest location in Edgewood. Incredible food from Rodney Davis, more than 35 years now, from the award-winning wings, great burgers, fantastic sandwiches, like the Diablo sandwich. Chili, always great this time of year. Ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Get in, see Willhaven and that great staff. Birmingham Institution, 2 locations, Odie staff.
And our great friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. The website's urologycentersalabama.com. You can visit them to schedule an appointment to find out more details about what Urology Centers of Alabama can offer you, or one of their great locations, 16 of them around the great state of Alabama. They treat all of your urological needs, from prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomy, anything else, guys. So important to stay on top of your health as you age from your 20s to your 30s, 30s to 40s, and so on. Go check it all out and find the location near you and make that appointment. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Back in a moment on TNR.
Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with a TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
From the creators of the Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on the Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
All right, basketball happening tonight. Hey, give me cut number 5. LSU Matt McMahon, who was the guy that was laughing with Nate pregame. He was dressed much like he is in this interview here for the LSU at Alabama game. Now they get Auburn coming to their place. Where still surprisingly, we forget. Bruce has made us forget just how non-successful Auburn's basketball program was over the years. LSU leads this basketball series by a pretty wide margin.
I'm sure Auburn trails against everybody that's been in the conference for any amount of time.
Yeah, I can't believe the funk that this LSU basketball program has been
That's
in.
right. I mean, It's been so long since this used to be a tough game all the time.
They literally used to call this place the Death Dome.
Yeah.
They were trying to make it like it was the Tiger Stadium of basketball. And maybe for a minute it was. I don't know. I just remember as a kid it being called the Death Dome. Maybe when Chris Jackson and Shaquille O'Neal were roaming the court, it was tough.
It used to be one of the great places in the midweek or weekend games. If LSU had a home game, it was always a great watch, whoever they were playing, Kentucky at LSU. In fact, I think it was a Chris Jackson team, one of the great, and they'll play it in the summer at some point on the SEC network, one of the great regular season basketball games of all time was Kentucky at LSU. When Kentucky, I think it was Pitino's team, had the
terrible uniforms.
Are you talking about the Mardi Gras Miracle when Kentucky came all the way back and won the game?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean that was an incredible collapse by LSU.
But a bonkers atmosphere in Baton Rouge.
But how is
Loyola Marymount?
Came
and played at LSU.
Now I do remember that one. Yeah,
bonkers.
Because wasn't that game like 140 to 138 or something like that?
That's when Shaquille was skinny. Yeah. But how is LSU good in all these other sports?
Yeah, baseball.
But they
football,
can't figure out basketball right now, and especially with the SEC being as good as it is overall.
Yeah, it seems like they're the program that's left behind because 13 teams are projected in the tournament now, which means Arkansas, LSU, and who's the one that skips my mind?
South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, or not in.
And, I mean, South Carolina's been to a Final Four since LSU. Mm-hmm. Arkansas, obviously, is really good.
Will Wade, with Trendon Watford, Will Wade had him good for a minute. I mean, there are times John Brady had him in the Final Four. Like, they get these peaks, but as consistency as a program, they just do not have it.
Yeah, and look, I mean, did you guys ever think when we started doing a show together that Auburn would be a double-digit favorite on the road at LSU?
Nope. And I talked to an LSU guy the other night in Tuscaloosa, big LSU guy, and he said we just don't have the horses. And I was like, is it NIL? And he's like, I don't know. He goes, this guy's a really good basketball coach. He goes, he just doesn't have the horses.
I just wonder, like Nick Saban said, you could shake a tree in Louisiana and a wide receiver falls out of it. I just wonder if their basketball. I mean, do they just not have good basketball players?
Go out of state.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know everybody's recruiting out of state. So, like, I mean, all right, if you don't have good basketball players in your state.
I mean, the problem is you had a bag man that was your head coach that was a really good coach in Will Wade, and the timing was just different.
In today's game, Will Wade would be just fine at LSU. Nobody bat an eye at what he was doing.
They won 32 games last year at McNeese.
It feels like Will Wade, didn't he have 3 kids from right in Baton Rouge? Like the big school in Baton Rouge was really good.
University High or whatever it is that's down there. Yeah,
surprisingly.
So. I mean, how many do you think right now on the roster for LSU are Louisiana kids?
I'll say out of 13. Is there 13?
Out of 13 on the roster, 3 was going to be my guess.
Yeah,
it is 3.
Yeah. That was going to be my guess.
I mean, but that shouldn't matter anymore. It shouldn't matter, that state just doesn't produce players. You go anywhere and get players now in this world.
Yeah, it should be about the NIL. And I mean, SEC NIL money in basketball should be comparable or as good as anybody's. Here's Mac McMahon's the head coach, if you don't know. He gets asked about having to slow down Auburn tonight in that 6 o'clock game.
Auburn has the most efficient offense in the entire country, and they also have a Player of the Year candidate in Jahki Broome. What does this team have to do defensively to slow them down, especially Jahki in at the post?
Well, you have to be disciplined. You also have to be disruptive. It's a tough assignment from the standpoint of they have such great balance. They shoot the ball exceptionally well from behind the three-point line with multiple weapons. Then they have arguably the best player in the country to this point in Jahki Broome and his efficiency around the goal. And then it seems everyone plays their role. They get to the free throw line. They're on the offensive glass. There's not just one thing you say you have to take away. So I think physicality, toughness, the ability to guard inside and out and defend their balance is certainly quite a challenge, but we'll have to be ready for all of those things.
Hats off to him being one of the non-Auburn people to actually get Jahki's name right.
Jahki Broome?
Yeah, well, and the girl that asked.
Yeah,
I mean,
she got him right.
She got it twice. So this LSU team's got a major turnover problem. In their 6 SEC games, they're turning it over more than 4 times per game more than their opponent. Their games haven't been really close either. So in 6 conference games, they haven't played a one-possession game yet. Even in their one win against Arkansas, they won that game by 4. But in their 5 losses, 3 of those losses by double digits, they haven't been as close. The closest they've been in a loss is 7 points.
I mean, I will tell you this. Alabama had no answer for Jordan Sears. I mean, it's crazy. The type of game. He played 29 minutes off the bench for them. Didn't even start against Alabama and tore it up. I had to go look. What do you have, 21? Is that right?
Before it became a storyline in the second half. In the first half, I kept thinking to myself, who would have came here tonight thinking their Sears would have more points than Alabama's Sears?
Yeah, but I mean, he tore it up off the bench for them. So again, they only hit 3 out of 23 from beyond the arc. If they get any kind of threes to fall.
And Brown.
What?
Forget the air balls. Some of the threes they missed, you know it's a bad shot. LT air balls, you give them that. Yeah. But when it hits this part of the backboard right here,
that's a problem.
I mean, those are bad shots. When it hits like low right corner, low left corner, they had 2 or 3 of those. I was like, that's a bad shot. I mean, air ball, okay.
All right.
You overshot it, you undershot it. But when you're hitting that part of the backboard, that's a straight-on miss right there.
Now, imagine being that guy. It looks like a Baptist preacher, by the way. Matt McMahon does.
Yeah.
But your back-to-backs are in Tuscaloosa and then hosting Auburn. That's 2 best teams in the conference right now. That's just a tough stretch.
2 1 seeds.
Yeah.
All right, so 4 Downs every day brought to you by our friends at Slice. Slice Pizza, wonderful location for lunch and dinner. Easy to go as well. Just great customer service at those 5 locations.
Yeah, stop in for lunch or dinner. You're going to absolutely love it. Created by the late Jeff Bajaya, his brothers Jason and Chris continue to celebrate his legacy. Local pizza, local ingredients. Get into one of those 5 locations for more information on their menu. We actually went yesterday.
That is correct, yeah.
I got the old school. I got a slice of the old school and the Redmont salad.
Yep.
Just fantastic.
How many times you been to Slice, you think?
In my life?
In the hundreds, probably? Or,
easily in the hundreds.
Have you ever had their Italian sub?
No.
I've gotten that the last 2 times.
Yeah,
going at
see,
lunch.
I didn't even know it really existed because I'm always focused because people bring up their wings.
Yep.
And so I finally got the wings, but I'm always focused on the pizza. And then we went to lunch a couple of months ago, and he got the Italian sub, and it looked incredible.
Hey, it's fantastic.
The wings I like because I can always ask. I said, make them crispy, and they'll leave them on that open fire a little bit more.
I feel you.
Crisp them up a little bit. They have a good pasta dish, too. That is sort of a buttery little pasta dish.
That's what my oldest daughter gets when she goes there. Yeah,
it is so good. Spiced perfectly.
All right.
It is so good.
Hungry now.
First down.
Okay, more points scored tonight. Auburn and Baton Rouge against LSU or Alabama and Starkville against Mississippi State.
Well, just a stat on that. Alabama has scored 85 or more points in 5 straight SEC road games.
I was about to pull that up just to look at that number. So it's 85 or more?
85 or more in 5 straight SEC road games.
Well, just to let you know, I mean, the totals right now, Alabama, Mississippi State, that total is 165, which is 16 points more than the 149 that Auburn and LSU.
I mean, if you just go to all their road games, the only one they haven't really scored a ton is at Purdue, and that was 78. But when you look at their true road games, 94 in Chapel Hill, 97 in North Dakota.
They are playing a better defense tonight in Mississippi State.
Very physical, athletic team Mississippi State is.
Auburn's a healthy double-digit favorite. So, I mean, I think Auburn wins the game. I don't know about going away, but comfortably.
Are we going total points in this game?
Total points by Auburn or total points by Alabama. And I think Alabama loses the game tonight.
I think I'll go Alabama.
I'm going to go Auburn with more points tonight. I could see it being 82 for Auburn. I could see it being 80 for Alabama. Very close both ways.
You think, how close to 100%? How much playing time you think old Johnny Broom gets? You think he'll get what he got against?
33 minutes, yeah.
You think that's how much he'll get? I just wonder if the game
gets out of hand. Yeah, I could see that.
It's pretty comfortable if you just go ahead and rest him and then avoid him just a freak recurrence of that injury or something.
I mean, I asked Steven yesterday, is this an opportunity that he rests this game? And back at Ole Miss on the weekend, they're like, he's full go.
I'll go Alabama.
Yeah, Second down.
Heather Graham, 55 years old today.
Well, I liked her in Austin Powers.
Yeah. I was going to say, what is your favorite Heather Graham role? Because you've got The Hangover, you've got Roller Girl and Boogie Nights, you've got Drugstore Cowboy.
Yeah, she's a giver.
I'll take her in Austin Powers there. I can't remember which one it was. Do you remember which Austin Powers Heather Graham was
The spy who shagged me.
Yeah, was that the one?
I think it was that one. I think that was the second one.
Yeah, I get them confused what order they were
Dr. Evil has a base, like a volcano base or something.
Right.
Yeah, I would definitely go Roller Girl from 1997 Boogie Nights.
I liked her personality in Hangover, but I'm going to go Roller Girl as well.
Did you like Austin Powers?
Oh, I love the Austin Powers
I did too.
movies.
I really liked those
I
movies.
did not like them.
I thought they were very funny.
I mean,
never been a Michael Myers fan.
Yeah.
Each movie's basically just 2 hours of fart jokes, but it still makes me laugh.
Which I generally don't like fart jokes, so I don't know why I find that movie funny, but I do find that movie funny.
My favorite Michael Myers movie is I Married an Axe Murderer.
That is a Michael Myers movie.
I had to shut that one down quick.
My favorite Shrek. Accent?
I think Shrek was really good.
Oh, yeah.
All the Shreks.
But I don't,
all the Shreks.
I don't guess I think of that as though he is the main voice. I don't think of it as a Michael Myers movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Chris Farley was originally going to be the voice of Shrek.
Was he really?
Yeah, they were like 75% of the way through recording his lines, and then
was it really?
So he started doing it. I didn't know that.
There's clips out there of just little reels he was doing practicing.
Oh,
his
he would have
lines.
been great. And I don't know if he would have been as good as Michael Myers.
Well, you can only think of it as Michael Myers now.
Yeah. But Chris.
Tim keeps saying.
What, Tim? What?
Mike.
What, Tim?
Every time y'all call him Michael Myers, all I think of is the bank robbery scene from Baby Driver.
Oh, so good.
They're like, you need Michael Myers masks, and they're all wearing Mike Myers masks.
That is funny, yeah.
Which would be impossible to find anywhere.
That would be tough to find, and they only did that because they couldn't get the rights to the Michael Myers masks.
Oh, seriously?
It made it so much better in that movie, though. That's an underrated movie, and I know it doesn't get any love anymore because of Kevin Spacey being a big part of that movie. But that was really good.
Third down.
Tom Selleck is in the 80 club, 80 years old today.
Wow. Boy, he's aged well, though. I mean, you got to say for 80, the guy still looks good.
Better career, Tom Selleck or Tom Glavine?
Tom Glavine is a Hall of Famer.
Would you say Tom Selleck's a Hall of Fame actor?
I mean, just to carry shows for 5+ decades.
Yeah, they go to him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Tom Glavine was never the best pitcher on his own staff.
Only because the staff was so good, and I disagree. There was probably a year he was the best pitcher on the staff. Not consistently and not overall, for sure, but I think in a year he was. And he had an amazing stat. He was the one that if you didn't get him in the first inning.
Yeah, he would get roughed up some of the first inning. If he got through the first, it was over.
So Tom Glavine for me.
I would go Selleck.
How would you rank those three, Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox?
Smoltz because of the bullpen year.
You put him in front of Maddox?
I would go number one. I'd go Maddox 2, and I'd go Glavine.
I'd go Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine.
I think that's the way I was going to go. Maddox, Smoltz,
But I mean,
Glavine.
from what Smoltz, from being a dominant closer, from dominant starter to dominant closer, is pretty impressive.
Tom Selleck's best role, is it Magnum PI?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's his.
Yeah,
But this Blue Bloods, which I think every 70-year-old out there absolutely loved. I mean, it had a run for a long time. And then the 3 Men and a Baby.
Yeah, 3 Men and a Baby was huge.
Blue Bloods is on constantly at my grandparents' house.
It used to air. The original ones would air right before I'd anchor the news.
The original Blue Blood?
Yes.
Yeah.
So on CBS. So it was a 9 o'clock show, I guess.
That's been on that long?
And when what was that, 2016?
So older women would go from fantasizing about Tom Selleck to you.
Right. But I would only see the last scene in every episode, them at a table eating dinner and talking about their day. I mean, it was
the way it always ended.
That's all I ever saw of the show, and it's a horrible show. I never liked Magnum PI. Did not love 3 Men and a Baby.
Jeez.
Tom Glavine, easy for me.
Wow. What has Selleck done that you like?
His best part was playing Courtney Cox's boyfriend on Friends.
Wow.
I have never been a fan of any of those shows. Magnum PI was okay. The one where he tread water for like a day with sharks are swimming around him. But I can recognize the fact I still would go Tom Selleck, although I didn't like any of his stuff.
Yeah. Well, Tom Glavine had nasty stuff, and I'll take Glavine.
Fourth down.
Oprah Winfrey, 71 today. Oprah Winfrey, Tom Brady. Better career.
I think I would probably go Oprah Winfrey because you got to think about Oprah Winfrey jumped into that daytime talk show world when it was basically It was just a free-for-all, like you did paternity tests, you did my husband's cheating on me.
It's just the opposite.
No, that's what she originally did. That's what she's made people forget. She originally did that.
Yeah, but I thought she cracked in like being, I forgot what affiliate she worked for Chicago, and then she got into Daytime Talk, but I thought it was more just like laid back. That's what's impressive to me is like, what did she do to differentiate herself?
People forget this about Oprah. I guarantee you, if you go back and look at Oprah, she used to do the stuff where you'd have on the black guy and the guy in the Klan suit. I mean, she did.
That's not the way it's portrayed in the
100%.
Yeah, you need to go watch Springer.
No, but y'all are, I think what I'm saying is I don't think that's accurate. I think if you go back and look, Oprah was doing it just like everybody else did.
No, I don't think so.
And then she became mainstream and started getting presidents on the show. That's what I'm saying. To dig out of that to be what she was.
Yeah, the Springer thing made it. She was the dominant number one, and they started doing theirs basically to stay alive, the way they started to do it. And then eventually they passed Oprah in the ratings, and Oprah looked down at the way they were doing it, and then they basically sent them a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts to Oprah Winfrey with a Polaroid. They didn't really do that.
No, I've heard that.
It was a big snap on the old ratings.
Google real quick.
I'm
Tyler.
looking at her right now.
What? No, just Google Oprah interviews the Klan or something like that, and see if you could find a screenshot. I guarantee you, she used to do this.
That was Springer made it seem like in that documentary they were the first to do that.
Yeah. Kelly says she started off that way, talking about what I'm saying. Laura says Brown is right. She started out Springer without the fights. Keith says Brady never has been to a Diddy party. I don't know if Oprah has. Melton says Oprah has never lost to Eli Manning.
Is it out there that Oprah went to a Diddy party?
I have no idea. I hadn't paid any attention to that story. See, look there. 1988, Oprah invited a group of skinheads. See, she used to do that same stuff.
Yep. And we're focusing only on her as a host. We haven't even talked about her owning her own network.
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
She originally signed Dr. Phil to.
That's right.
That's where he got his start.
No, I mean, her career as a producer has been incredible. Harpo Productions or whatever her company is called.
No, it's good. Magazine at a point.
Yeah.
Probably clothing lines.
And she
owned
was
Weight Watchers for a while.
Able to have a boyfriend without getting married. I mean, that's a pretty big flex because he was dying to get married with all that Oprah money.
That was going to be the other way of what it normally happens, right? Guy gets divorced and ends up getting a ton of cash.
I'll go Tom Brady, though.
Google has Oprah's net worth at $3 billion and Tom Brady's at $600 million.
I mean, think about that, though. Guy was an NFL player and he's got a $600 million net worth. That is crazy.
Yeah, I'll go Oprah.
I'll go Oprah.
I'm going to go Brady. And that is 4 Downs, brought to you by
5 locations of slice, lunch, or dinner. Again, we went in for lunch yesterday. Fantastic. Get the specialty slice of the day and one of those great salads. For more information on that menu, slicebirmingham.com.
And Brownie, the golf is there for you. Even when the weather gets good here in the spring and summer, the golf is still there for you to jump out quickly, have a great lunch or just a team building thing at 5 o'clock or at night to have a good golf outing.
Even when the weather's good, you know what the sun does? It sets, right?
It sets eventually.
That's right. So head to the golf. It's always dry. It's always 70 degrees. The sun's always up in the golf. You never get rained out or delayed by weather. It's Birmingham's best golf simulators. They are open on Highway 31 in Vestavia already. Also on Van Road, which is just off Highway 11 in Trussville, coming soon to Highway 280. And it's a great place for a party. They got screens where you can have the game on while you play on the golf simulators. All the courses you've seen on TV for years, you've always wanted to play. Well, here's your chance to play them at the Golfus. And hey, how about, it's right there in the name, office? Get out of the office. Have that office meeting at the Golfus. You can see more in Book of Bay, thegolfus.com. That is thegolfus.com.
The worst coaching job in the NFL right now, which one do you think is the worst coaching job in the NFL, the job you would not want?
Probably the Jets.
Probably the Jets.
Or the Jacksonville.
I would go Cleveland. Where are they in this whole Deshaun Watson thing?
He's restructured his deal.
Yeah. But you've never been to the Super Bowl. You've never quite gotten it right.
To me, it's the New Orleans Saints. And proof of that happened yesterday when Cliff Kingsbury said no thank you.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury said no thank you to a head coaching job with the New Orleans Saints.
Did they offer him the job?
He was in the mix. He said, I don't even want to come interview.
Has Joe Brady told him no thank you officially?
He has not yet. No.
When it gets to that point, because the Louisiana savior is Joe Brady, they love that guy down there. If Joe Brady says, I tell you what, I am going to keep coaching Josh Allen and see what happens here, then it'll be a 5-alarm fire. I mean, I think all the Louisiana fans are counting on Joe Brady tapping back into that Louisiana magic down there.
Well, and I think Kingsbury, if you're looking at this, so he wasn't interviewing with anybody as the Commanders were still in it. He opted not to interview with the Saints. He's probably just playing, hey, look, I've got the best young quarterback in football right now. If we have one more year like we had this year, there's going to be other openings, and these openings suck right now. I mean, this is the collection of some of the worst jobs to ever come open at the same time.
That's a good point. One more good year, and then maybe I get a better opportunity than jumping in. And Kingsbury's already got one bad strike on his record, right?
Yeah.
Like Brady can go be a head coach and have one bad one and probably get another shot somewhere. I don't know if Cliff, if he goes in as bad as he was the first time, actually ended up, did he make the playoffs a couple of times with Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
Yeah. So not really that bad of an outing, but got fired eventually.
But, I mean, you just look around like, you know, what's going to happen.
I was about to ask you, what job's open next year that you think would?
I don't know. Andy Reid's going to retire one day.
Well, that's going to be.
And I'm not saying that Kingsbury would be in a mix for any of these.
No, but if Andy Reid, if he wins a Super Bowl and retires, any coach in the world will take that job.
Zach Taylor with Cincinnati. I mean, look, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Cincinnati to do something next year.
Yeah, and to quote Al Golden, who took the defensive coordinator's job, there's only 32 of these, and only one that's got Joe Burrow. That was a great quote, by the way, by Al Golden. They asked, why leave Notre Dame to come here? He goes, guys, there's only 32 of these jobs, and this is the only one that's got Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Now, he's the defensive coordinator, obviously.
So only if if my defense is this good,
That's
I believe
right.
Joe can be this good and we can win some games.
I mean, by the way, you saw that this year. I mean, Joe Burrow had them on the doorstep of the playoffs, and their defense couldn't stop anybody.
You know, is Brian Callahan going to hang around Tennessee for a while? I don't think they're going to be very good next year. They're in a bad quarterback situation, but Kingsbury played in Tennessee, played in Nashville. So maybe that's a market that he would want to go back to.
Michelson Laser
Your
Vision.
Dolphins could be open.
They could
my
be.
Buccaneers could be open.
Yeah, and if Miami is open, I mean, if Mike McDaniel doesn't probably get to the playoffs and advance, it's going to be trouble.
Would either
for
one
him.
of you guys want Kingsbury?
I would not.
I don't know. I'd rather have somebody from McVay's tree to call plays.
I would just say,
Seems to be working good.
Yeah, I mean, Miami with Tua, Jalen Waddle, and if you can get Tyreek Hill to finally commit to staying there, I mean, if you're an offensive guy, that is a very attractive job.
I just don't believe the head coach is that important.
Is he the play caller?
That's it. I mean, give me a great offensive coordinator and a great defensive coordinator, and you can tab one of those as the head coach, and let's go. You know what I mean?
I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean,
Sean still calls his plays.
He
right?
does. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Now, I know you think he's a great head coach. I think he is a great head coach because.
Well, I think in the NFL you got to get everybody to buy in. Yeah. I think that locker room needs to really respect and like that guy. But at the same time, I mean, I think there is something to the Kevin O'Connells of the world right now, and the Sean McVays, and even the Kyle Shanahans.
Yeah, and Todd Bowles is the Tampa Bay head coach. Doesn't seem like he's a great rah-rah speech guy or anything like that. He's a hell of a defensive coordinator. So I'm okay with that. He's a defensive coordinator, and you have a great offensive coordinator, you go to the playoffs.
D'Amico Ryans is that guy.
Yeah, he's a head coach who's
Pete
a
Carroll
great
was that
defensive
guy.
Coordinator. Yeah, I mean, in the NFL, it seems different than in college, where it feels like you've got to go and do a lot more as the head coach.
Well, I think more college is just about getting the right players in, right?
Well, recruiting is where you really pay off. But, I mean, we criticize like Mario Cristobal. I don't think he's calling either side of the ball, to my knowledge. Yeah. But, boy, we kill him when
he makes
He
makes some time management choices at the end.
They're not great.
Here's the Yahoo. Kendall Baker gave us this trivia question.
This is the NFL side.
This is the NFL side that LT wanted early, but Brown buzzed in earlier. Brian Schottenheimer, now the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he and Marty becomes the 8th NFL father and son head coaching family tree to have both a father and a son be the head coach in the NFL. They become the 8th. Who are the other 7?
Well, we know the Shanahans.
The Shanahans are Mike and Kyle Shanahan.
Don and David Shula.
Don and David Shula.
The Ryans, Buddy and Rex.
Buddy and Rex Ryan is on the list. You just mentioned one that I didn't know was coaching. And
the Callahans.
Bill and Brian Callahan.
Yeah. So we need 3 more?
Yes.
How hard are these, Jim? Should we know them?
One of them is hard. The other two are not.
What about Jim Mora and
playoffs?
I know Jim Mora, and why can I not say
Jim Jr.?
Yeah. Oh, Jim Mora Jr. That's right. It was Jim Mora Jr. Okay,
The
two Jims. All right, so we need two more.
Whew. Let's see. How can I describe one? Okay, both of these different ones were known for at one point, the way they dressed on the sidelines. One with a cowboy hat.
Bum and Wade Phillips.
Bum and Wade Phillips. And the other one wore a suit way past its time.
Mike Nolan?
Mike Nolan and Dick Nolan.
Oh, I would have never gotten Dick Nolan.
Mike's dad was Dick Nolan.
I thought of Mike Nolan when we were talking to Nate Oats earlier today.
Oh, wearing the suit?
Yeah.
You remember he petitioned the NFL to Nike had to produce, or Reebok, whoever had the agreement then, had to make a suit so that he could be wearing an officially licensed NFL suit. Do you remember that story?
It looks
so
strange.
It was just so absurd.
That from Kendall Baker and Yahoo. Really good stuff there. Top of the hour. The show being brought to you today by our friends right there at Hemp Hill. They bring you the lock every day, lanceslock.com, for a lot of great basketball tonight. As always, LT told you earlier that he has a handle on that college basketball like I don't. I mean, I was all over Tennessee last night.
13 plays up today. 11 in college hoops. Big board today in college hoops. 2 in the NBA. Jump on board. Win with us. $100 for the entire month. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. 205-229-2090. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations: Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the PJCC. With customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall. Sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only, meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday, it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday, meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
As we all know, there's no off season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com. Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays. Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Start off to clearing up a little dead wood from yesterday. Remember I brought up the conversation that Dusty and Danny were having in the morning about the NIL idea, that the Notre Dame folks had the comedian Shane Gillis,
yeah,
and Bon Jovi had jumped in, and they were discussing should other NIL people maybe start doing this for their schools. And I was catching them again on the drive-in this morning, and they got inundated with people saying collectives are already doing this.
I haven't seen that.
That the George Strait concert at Kyle Field with the Turnpike Troubadours was actually a portion of that went to the Texas A&M NIL collective.
That was, I think, the largest concert crowd. I don't know what the qualifier was like in Texas history, state of Texas, maybe American history.
Because they went over 100,000.
They went over 100,000 for King George.
I can't believe this is not more mainstream. Yeah. Like, you don't hear about these stories because I think a lot of people are fascinated with NIL.
Apparently it is. Like Cole Swindell did one last year for Georgia Southern, his school, and he's doing another one this year where basically everything but the cost of the concert goes to Georgia Southern's NIL.
Okay, here is the question. How many musical acts or comedians would you have affiliated with different schools that could make it work?
Very few, but they
like Alabama and Auburn. Who
they
would
don't
be
have
those?
anybody. I mean, that's what we talked about yesterday. Like Auburn.
Who's Randy Owens? A big. Who does he pull for?
Who do you think so?
I would say Alabama.
Randy Owen?
Yeah.
He went to Jack State. He's on the board of trustees. Jack State could actually do this well. They've got Riley Green and Randy Owen.
I know, but there's a bunch of people that maybe went to Jack State, but they still pull for other teams.
Well, probably so. Yeah. Randy acts like he pulls for Jack State.
Like I get confused on Riley Green. I think he's an Auburn fan, to be honest with you.
Well, I know he has put back a lot to Jacksonville.
Literally played football at Jacksonville State. I would hope he would help the NIL there.
Yeah.
I think any of those guys would for the right money.
Yeah, but I think that's it. The collectives just need to be putting these concerts on inside the stadium.
Yeah, here would be the problem is, and I don't even know a good example on this. Kenny Chesney, he's a big Tennessee guy. Like he couldn't do one for Alabama because he wouldn't want to hear it from the Tennessee fans. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you would just have to find somebody that's not affiliated, which should be pretty easy to do. I don't know. Like I don't know enough about it. If you told me you wanted to try to sell out Bryant Denny and Jordan Hare, who could sell out Bryant Denny and Jordan Hare? I mean, Garth Brooks has done stadium tours and sold out stadiums that size, so he could probably do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's just say Nick Saban wanted to do a speaking engagement to give his highlights throughout his 17-year career in Tuscaloosa. Do you think he could sell 1,000 tickets at $1,000 each?
Yes.
Intimate, there's only 1,000 tickets available, $1,000 each.
Yeah, I think he could, especially if Alabama fans knew it was funding NIL.
I mean, that's $1 million right there.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I bet he could almost sell it for $10,000 a table. Maybe that's a little bit more than $1,000 a ticket.
I think the problem you run into with this idea is a lot of acts that are big enough to fill a stadium, which now George Strait obviously can, are probably not just going to do it for their appearance fee.
Yeah.
When they fill a stadium, they want a cut of the stadium, right? That's the whole reason they're doing a stadium.
But even if you split it 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing.
Yeah. But I saw George Strait and the one at Texas A&M with some of that going to the NIL, or at least that's what they were saying on the show today. And I wondered if the Ohio State concert that you were at also went some of the Ohio State NIL money.
It could have. It was not That was part of a tour, so I don't think so.
But I wonder if the leasing of the stadium went to the NIL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because those stadiums sit vacant so much. And I'm sure that, Kyle Field is where they did it for the one in College Station.
Right.
And I wonder if part of the use of the horseshoe for that concert you were at, I wonder if that went to Ohio State's.
It may have. I don't know. It may have. It was part of a tour, but that doesn't mean it.
Dan, the Brown family helped Ohio State win a national championship.
I am now an Ohio State booster, so I can't comment.
Caleb Downs, absolutely. Speaking of, this hour brought to you by Champions. More on them in a second. Speaking of donating to a school, Cigar City Brewing. I've had a couple of their beers before.
Oh, their High Life IPA is really good.
Yeah. Cigar City Brewing. It's owned by Joey and Jennifer Redner. They just donated $2.2 million.
To who? South Florida?
To South Florida for their on-campus stadium. So I don't know if they'll have Cigar City Brewing on the stadium or anything like that, but to help build that beautiful on-campus stadium at USF, they just gave a $2.2 million donation.
All right. Shows me that Cigar City's healthy.
Doing well, right?
$2.2 million donation?
$2.2 million donation.
A lot of those smaller crafts, and I guess they're not really smaller crafts because they're distributed everywhere, but, it's so oversaturated right now. Yeah. A lot of those, they have a difficult time making money.
But I remember that stadium was going to look really pretty. Forrester showed us the mock-ups of what it was going to look like, so good for them down there.
It hit the brakes, though, right?
Well, I guess they're still fundraising.
But I think at one point, is that the Life Wallet? Is that the one?
No, I think that was Life Wallet guy was Miami.
That was Miami. That's right. I was trying to remember the one.
That's the Miami on-campus stadium.
Yeah. Okay, I was confusing those two stories. My apologies.
Yeah. All right, this show brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Lunchtime is great go time for Sterling and the crew down there. Cooks that chicken to order, so it's never sitting under a lamp. He cooks it. Comes out piping hot, and you get the opportunity to sit down there and just enjoy some great Southern cooking. Hand-cut chicken fingers, chicken on a stick, po' boys, and so much more, including the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's a great menu, great food, great people. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Nate Oats on the show earlier. You can get that wherever you get our podcast. Give me cut number 6, Tyler. Kalen DeBoer, Hugh Freeze, the crew, making it through the Senior Bowl. Second biggest day of practice going on today. They'll have one more big practice tomorrow, and then all the NFL people will leave town before the Senior Bowl coming up on Saturday. It's a big week for Jalen Milroe. He gets asked about his growth and what he's trying to do at the Senior Bowl yesterday, and then one point that came out yesterday on Milroe after you listen.
Be able to have the position to go out on the field, compete, learn, grow. One thing that's evident is the amount of knowledge that's on the field. So as a quarterback, that's what I've been trying to do. Whenever I'm not on the field, trying to learn and grow with my positional coach. Then when I'm on the field, taking the snap, just going, 100% and learning each day that I'm out here, just getting better than I was the day before. So I'm going to enjoy the process. I'm going to continue to get better. I'm going to have some fun while I'm doing it.
He got Kenny Picketed yesterday.
Yes, he did.
He ended up with a small hand measurement.
That's right. I don't know if
Pittsburgh's not going to get burned twice on that, are they?
I mean, that's the funny thing about it when you say Kenny Picketed, because Pittsburgh is supposedly the team that has fallen in love with him. And
by the way, Bobby from Homewood, who rightfully gives me a hard time about a lot of stuff, but he gave me a hard time about Kenny Pickett, me saying he was going to be a bust. And he's the backup. He could win a Super Bowl this year, but he's a backup quarterback.
Yeah, he's a bust.
He will be.
No argument
forever
about
be
it.
a backup.
Yeah.
I was right about Kenny Pickett.
Yeah,
and it had nothing to do with his small hands. It had to do with his history in college.
I thought he's about what you got at the quarterback position the last couple of years at Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett had 0 weapons.
Yeah.
I still think Pickett is better than you think he is.
Probably so. He's making a paycheck in the NFL, so that's better than I thought he was.
You thought he'd be out of the league by now?
Now, the one I'm going to miss on is Drake May. He looks like he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And I didn't think he'd be very good. I was throwing him into the Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett.
But now we've seen the other side of this on hand size. The E.J. Manuel hand size got him drafted very high by Buffalo because Buffalo plays in a lot of bad weather.
Because he had a big hand.
He had a big hand, so that's going to help him, grip the football in bad weather.
I'll tell you,
that did not play out.
That stuff is real, though. When Allen fumbled this past week and was going down, he just reached down when still had defender wrapped around him and palm that ball.
It's like he had suction gun.
Yeah. But in the rain, I mean, Milroe, those fumbles that happened in the rain.
Yeah, against Michigan.
You don't think that'll pop up in the conversation?
I heard a Senior Bowl expert analyst, somebody talking about one of their favorite players right now in Mobile is Jalen Hurts or Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, and how come? Why did they give a reason why?
Well, he just talked about his ceiling and how good this guy can be, and I agree. But I mean, you can't be that inconsistent in the NFL.
You cannot. And I don't remember really the first time I remember a discussion of quarterback's hands was E.J. Manuel. I don't know if you guys remember hand size prior to E.J. Manuel.
I only remember the biggest one was the Kenny Pickett debate.
Yeah, but that's obviously been since E.J. Manuel.
We were still in radio, I believe, and didn't we do a little spoof where we all measured our hand size? And
I do remember doing that.
And I don't have big hands, and I think I ended up having the same measurement as Kenny Pickett.
I can't remember what my measurement was because the way they do it is thumb to pinky, right?
That's right.
Is that the measurement? Yeah. Tip of thumb to tip of pinky, and I can't remember where I measured. But I do think I remember you having a bigger hand than Kenny Pickett, actually, and that became the joke.
I remembered it being the same size, and I never, I can't throw the Duke. I can't throw an NFL football the way it needs to be thrown because I can't grip it right. Can't get a good grip on that thing and throw it. I'm great with a Nerf football.
I just don't remember, I guess Tom Brady's got big hands. I guess Patrick Mahomes got big hands. I don't remember this being a discussion that much with quarterbacks.
I think maybe those guys have average hands, whatever that average hand is, which is, I think, 10 inches.
Let's go Patrick Mahomes.
Or maybe a little.
Hand measurement. Hand size. Patrick Mahomes' hand size. 9 1/4 inches.
Yeah. I feel like mine was 8.75.
Do you have what Milroe's was? It was 8 something.
I don't know. I can't remember.
It was under 9.
Yeah. Well, it was the same as Kenny Pickett, I think.
Yeah.
What was Kenny's?
You'll have to give me a second.
You just start typing Kenny.
It's going to be the first thing that comes up.
Small hands.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe hand size. If you've got Pickett, I've got Milroe.
I'll get Kenny by the time you. Kenny Pickett hand size 8.5.
Okay.
Milroe's 8 3/4.
8.5 puts you in the 1 percentile. By the way.
Yeah.
Of
NFL players?
Of quarterbacks, I think it is.
No starting quarterback.
Not of humans.
No starting quarterback in the NFL has hands under 9 inches. And again, Jalen Milroe, 8 3/4.
So I was unfamiliar with this stat. There is not a single starter, everyday starter, that has a hand under 9 inches.
Yeah, and this goes on to say, the very next paragraph, small hands did not prevent Pittsburgh quarterback Kenny Pickett from being drafted in the first round by the Steelers.
Yeah. Tom Brady's 9 3/8. In case you just want to see what the grades are.
How does he not trip over those things?
Milroe lost 6 fumbles in 13.
I mean, the average, according to this story that I'm reading about Tom Brady, the average NFL hand size for a quarterback, the average hand size for an NFL quarterback is 9 7/10 inches, 9.7 inches. So, I mean, that is a significant difference if you care, and I guess everybody cares about it because there's not a starting quarterback that's below 9 inches.
Speaking of quarterbacks that have delivered, Patrick Mahomes is a legacy in himself, a dynasty in himself. Forrester has this graphic from the week. Patrick Mahomes has now gone to more Super Bowls than, I think it's 19 NFL franchises.
This is ridiculous.
He's gone to more Super Bowls than the Colts, the Vikings, the Bills, the Seahawks, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Bears, the Bucks, though we're 2-0, Panthers, Falcons, Jets, Saints, Chargers, Titans, Cardinals, Browns, Lions, Texans, and Jaguars.
Lance, we're not on the list.
Nope. You're not.
Thank goodness. Dolphins and Rams, we somehow missed.
I will tell you, I've written down the teams that, obviously Kansas City, he's taken them there those 5 times that he's been, and Lynn Dawson got him there a couple times. Pittsburgh, not on the list. Dallas, not on the list. Brady and the Patriots, not on the list. 49ers, not on the list. Green Bay, not on the list. Surprisingly, the Giants, not on the list. So they've at least gone 5 times, twice with Eli.
That's not surprising. I mean, that was a really good organization until recently.
Twice with Eli, twice with
once with
Sims and Hostetler.
Sims.
And then once with Kerry Collins. That's 5, so that at least ties him.
Yeah.
That gets you off the list. Philadelphia, Washington, Miami.
Yeah, he's tied with Miami now at 5.
Rams, Broncos, and then the one that surprises people probably because they're in Las Vegas now, but the Raiders, who have gone to a lot of
They
Super
used
Bowls.
to, yeah.
back
Speaking
in
of
the
Super Bowl,
day.
did you see what the ads are right now?
I saw what Fox
This
has
is
gotten for a couple.
crazy.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Is it?
Well, I don't know if this is a 30 or a 60. Is this a? Do you know?
Is it 2.2 million?
No, that's a bargain.
No.
Okay.
So they say that the ads normally increase by 100,000 each year, but they say this year the increase is closer to 500,000. But they've sold at least 10 commercials on Fox for $8 million each.
That's got to be a 60, wouldn't you think?
I would think, but I don't. Yeah, I mean, I get. No, it says they declined to comment on the specific price tag for 30s. Last year, a 30 spot went for around $7 million. So I guess the 30s.
Yeah, a 30 for $8 million. Can you? I mean, do you know the pressure on your creative team? We got 30 seconds, guys, and we've spent $8 million.
I like our friends at AB though. Bud, like Michelob Ultra, they've got a pickleball commercial with Catherine O'Hara and Willem Dafoe. I bet that'll be good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point. Like, you spend $8 million just for the commercial. How much do you have to pay Catherine O'Hara and William Dafoe to shoot a commercial for you?
Yeah. I mean,
we know what Barkley gets.
They're probably $1 million.
Yeah, we know what Barkley gets for Capital One commercials.
Yeah, that's multiple ones. This is probably a one-off commercial there. Before we do the spotlight, one other thing. Julian Edelman on the Dan Patrick Show says Mahomes is in the conversation of being the GOAT. And he goes, I'm as big of a Tom Brady guy as there is. The only difference that separates the two for me right now is longevity. Can Patrick Mahomes do it as long as Tom Brady has done it?
Does he want to do it as long as Tom Brady? I mean, that's the difference. Brady just had this fire that was burning.
Edelman says Brady basically played 3 careers.
Yeah, look, and I know Edelman loves him because if Edelman had normal quarterback situations in New England, he would have been out of the league in a couple of years.
Yeah, would have been an arena league guy or something like that. So do you think the Mahomes-Brady GOAT debate lasts?
I don't.
For a long time?
I would have said this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have – it's all about Super Bowls.
I mean, I actually think
he'd have to win the same Super Bowls as Brady.
If he wins another 1 or 2, I mean, I think what he's accomplishing right now, because Brady had to go through Peyton Manning, but who were the Roethlisberger was really good. But, I mean, this onslaught and this gauntlet of incredible quarterbacks right now in the AFC, for them to not only get to the AFC Championship game every year, but basically win it every year is pretty amazing. Like, I don't remember Brady doing that.
This would be the first three-peat. There was a point where it seemed like almost every year the Patriots were in this thing.
They won 3 out of 4 after they won their first in Super Bowl 36. They won 3 of 4 in that period, but I think that was the closest they got.
Do you feel like?
But they lost a handful of.
He's had an exceptional career so far, right?
7 years, yes.
How many passing yards behind Tom Brady do you imagine he is?
Passing yards behind
Passing yards behind Tom Brady, who's obviously the all-time.
And how
leader.
many is the year difference though? Like, how many?
I'm just saying all-time passing yards. Like he's
how many years has Mahomes played, and how many years did Brady play?
7, and Brady played 22.
Oh, then it's massive. Yeah. I mean, I would think that it's
going to be the point. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it's over 50,000.
It's 57,000. Yeah. He's still 57,000 pass yards away from Tom Brady. Now he's only
4 Super Bowl rings.
4 Super Bowl rings. I don't know which ones.
I mean, Brady.
He's basically Terry Bradshaw or Joe Montana rings behind him.
No, Brady's legitimately a unicorn. Like, how many guys want to play that long? Yeah. Like, I just don't see Pat Mahomes wanting to play as long, nearly as long.
And that's the thing. Brady's always going to have more rings than anybody. I just don't know that anybody could ever get to 6. And who's going to approach 89,000 pass yards? It took Brady 22 years to do that. Is a guy going to play 22 years? I mean, like Drew Brees is second. He's 9,000 pass yards behind Tom Brady.
Yeah, and I got to be honest. I don't think Mahomes is as good right now as he was a couple of years ago.
Oh, really? You think it's starting to?
I don't know about that. Maybe just not as much as asked of him. I mean, he still doesn't have what you would consider a really number one threat. I mean, his biggest weapon over the years has been Kelsey. Kelsey really didn't do anything last year in the regular season. I'm talking about 23. Really showed up in the postseason. Had a good, solid year this year, but I don't think DeAndre Hopkins has been the impact we thought he would be. I think Xavier Worthy is, a nice young player, but he doesn't have like an elite guy like a Tyreek Hill, which he used to have. So maybe that is part of the difference.
When you say the debate isn't going to last that long on who's the GOAT, do you think Mahomes passes him eventually as the GOAT?
No.
Brady or no?
Oh, I think if Mahomes, and so what's Mahomes got, 3?
Yeah, and this will be the first three-peat ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he wins this and one more, I mean, I know that Brady's going to have more, but again, for what?
He's going to have more Super Bowls. He's going to have more head-to-head's unfair because Mahomes is. Well, I say that's unfair. I mean, one of them was in the Super Bowl. And Mahomes was already well into his career when Brady beat him head-to-head in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is not going to be a popular take, but I do believe that Josh Allen, talent-wise, might be better than Peyton Manning. It's really close.
I'm not
and now you're looking at Mahomes is 4-0 in the postseason against Allen.
That's crazy.
But I mean, you don't think he can approach Brady's always going to have the passing yards and the Super Bowls over Mahomes. So how would you make an argument?
I don't know about the Super Bowls. If he gets to this one.
If he gets this one, he's only 3 behind.
Okay, all right. So I love how we say only 3 behind. I mean, you know how hard it is to win these things. I know he's doing it in a row. I know he's doing it in a pretty good clip.
That son of a bitch is in every one of them. I mean, you've got a good chance of winning once you get there.
I mean, 7 years, Brown. He's been in. This is his 5th Super Bowl, and he's been in 2 AFC Championship game overtime.
Yeah, this almost becomes Nick Saban. Didn't we get to a point where we were like, man, he can't win another one? Like, how many national championships can you win? These are difficult to win.
Yeah,
and it was like Nick Saban was just picking them up.
Yeah, he won 3 more after we said he couldn't win another one.
Yeah, because, Dabo, after he won his second, you were like, he's probably got more in him. Dabo's never going to win another one.
Probably not. Spotlight time brought to you by our friends at McCurry. You already have that queued and ready to go? Hit it, man.
The College Football Spotlight.
If you want to rent, you rent from McCurry. The hard to find cars, vans, passenger vans, SUVs, trucks. They got them at McCurry all over North Alabama. Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, 2nd Avenue Northwest of Coleman, Skyline Boulevard at Tuscaloosa, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
Forster, is this an NIL event that you've tweeted me? Clemson, college football stadium, Death Valley there, has sold out 81,000 fans for a baseball game.
The Bananas.
The Bananas.
Are you kidding me?
Are coming in to play the Party Animals in Clemson on April the 26th.
That's a lot of people to go see the Savannah Bananas.
It's not even a real baseball game.
Okay, I've never seen. Is it worth the price of admission?
You're asking the wrong guy. I'm not their audience.
Yeah,
I do know.
Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
So.
Yeah, I do know. I went when they came to weren't they at the Hoover Met? Am I right about that?
They were at Rickwood Field. Sold it out 2 straight years. Or they do. I
thought they did the Met.
I thought they did Rickwood.
Yeah, they went to Rickwood.
I know they did one Rickwood.
I thought they did the Met because I was hit up for tickets, and I said, I'll see what I can do. I went to our buddy Steve Susi at ATIX and dropped the phone when he told me what they were going for.
Oh, are you kidding?
Lance, they were like $280 a ticket.
Oh, my gosh.
They were at both Rickwood and Regions.
So, going to the Harlem Globetrotters, I think I've seen them twice. I saw them when I was like 7 or 8. And
Which
I thought
was a good one.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I took Jack in the Bill O'Brien blown 24-0 lead over Kansas City, the start of COVID, over on Sanford's campus, and I thought it was, oh my gosh,
not good.
Yeah, I mean it was almost sacrilegious to basketball what Forster's talking about to baseball.
Yeah.
So it's really the same thing.
Yeah, but have
you seen them?
The original one, I have not seen the Savannah Bananas in person. I've seen a documentary or a behind the scenes or something show on something.
Or maybe you did it. Did you do a news story behind the desk one night?
No, it was I think it was a Netflix documentary or something, or maybe it was a 30 for 30. I don't know. I saw some long extended story on the guy who decided this was what he was going to do instead of being I think his father was a big promoter of the Portland team or whatever, minor league baseball team, something like that, and he got into this, and it's blown up. It's a multi-million-dollar business.
They're doing it at your stadium before they go to Clemson. Your get-in is $176
at Raymond James.
Raymond freaking James.
So this is their football stadium tour that they're on.
I mean, how is this selling out football stadium?
Good for them.
If it's at Clemson's Death Valley, I wonder if any of that's going to Clemson's NIL, what we've been talking about.
Oh, I have got to pat the person on the back that came up with this idea, because if you had come to me and said, I'll tell you what we're going to do for NIL, we're going to bring the Savannah Bananas into Memorial Stadium, I would have said, all right, maybe they can play at the baseball park, but you think they're going to sell out our stadium?
That does blow me away. I mean, does somebody win $1 million in the crowd? Like,
Doubtful.
do they give money away? I mean, what is the big draw?
I mean, they're at Truist, the Braves Stadium, and Section 410, which is right field line upper levels, $156.
Yeah.
So this blows me
So
away.
that's like NLCS pricing.
Yeah.
Basically the World Series. But here's what I want to get to in college football. And yesterday we talked about North Carolina going to the natural grass from artificial turf. Nebraska's already said they're doing that. So Nebraska becomes a team to do this. Their first time to go to natural grass since 1970, by the way, for Nebraska. They've been on turf since 1970.
Yeah, wouldn't you think? And I mean, that does, now that I just look at the images in my head, that they have been on artificial. But Nebraska football fits natural grass, doesn't it?
133 Division I playing college football teams. How many of them are on natural grass?
I would say less than 20.
Wow.
Just because you go around, like, I hadn't driven by Mountain Brook Junior High in forever, and they've got this brand new just practice field on the side of the school that is all sports turf. And those things are millions of dollars.
I was blown away that Nebraska becomes the 40th and North Carolina becomes the 41st. That last season, only 39 of 133 played on natural grass in college.
Yeah, that's really not surprising.
That blows me away because think of the SEC, both in our state, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. I mean, most of them are on grass in the SEC. Mississippi
South
State,
Carolina.
South Carolina's grass.
Yeah.
You got some turfs, obviously, like Vandy. I feel like Texas is a turf.
I think Kentucky's a turf.
A&M is natural grass. Kentucky seems like a turf.
Vanderbilt's
I think it
turf.
is.
Ole
Vanderbilt
Miss
is.
turf.
Yeah. But in our league, at least it's 50-50. But, I mean, 39 of 133 is all you have of natural grass? That was insanity to me. And then you factor in Miami, the Hurricanes. They're on the Dolphins field. That's grass.
Yeah, they tear it up. At least once a year, the Dolphins have to play on a crap track because Miami played a rain game the night before.
College football spotlight every day brought to you by our friends at McCurry.
McCurry Rentals, that was very bitter by me, wasn't it? But it does happen about once a year. McCurryrentals.com. Dolphins are playing on some slop track.
Yeah.
Because Miami played a crap ACC game the night before.
That picture you sent me, is that Zach Etheridge with USC?
That's Trovon Reed, isn't it?
No. That is
Trovon Reed?
Trevon Reed is with USC now. He's their defensive backs coach.
That's Rob Ryan is what I was trying to point out to you. LT's DC.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hanging out at Parker High School this morning.
Oh, so he's at Parker here in town this morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, look at that, Lance. Your guy's in town. Yeah.
So Rob Ryan is at USC. As I mentioned, Trovon Reed is now the corners coach at USC. They're at Parker today. Thank you, Forrester, for clearing that up. Parker High School.
That's not Trovon, by the way.
Yeah, it is not. But boy, it is Rob Ryan.
It's definitely Rob Ryan.
He's got a look about him.
Zach Etheridge is now the new DB coach at Miami, the Hurricanes. Where was he? Arkansas last year?
Yes.
And Trovon Reed was at UCF last year.
Yes, he was with Gus.
So UCF to USC, Arkansas to Miami is those two former Auburn players moving up the coaching ladder or changing jobs this year. When we come back, LT has trash today, and we've got a ton more to do. Dr. B, always working on Brownie's hair lately. Got LT's hair dialed back in, ready to go for the next century.
Yeah, hey, best in the business, our man, Dr. Beckenstein. He has got over 10 categories of agents they can use, knowing they are going to work for you. They will custom compound these agents for you in pill or topical forms. You pick and choose which agents that you want. T3 has a new test. So easy, painless, affordable. Takes 4 seconds to perform. It will show you which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. Men and women are ordering Hims and other products online. They don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come by Dr. B, find out what will work for you. You can call, schedule a consultation with this great team today, 205-319-0316. I've been doing this for more than 3 years. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. My hair has more than doubled in thickness thickness. For more information on everything involving Dr. B, go to t3hair.net.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the PJCC. With customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall. Sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only, meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday, it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday, meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken. Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Back with you on the Next Round. Our friends at Hemphill, they help you with your heating and cooling, Brownie, since what, 1950s, the name Birmingham's trusted.
So let me tell you about Hemphill, Jimmy D. I got them coming over to my house Friday.
No, did you move close to LT? Did you make it easy on them?
I guess I talked to LT too much, but my water bill has been double. The last 2 months, yeah.
Well, mine's been up because I've been dripping my faucets at night.
Yeah, I have not been doing that. Mine has been double the last 2 months. So
maybe because you haven't been dripping your faucets. Maybe you have a frozen line that's popped.
I hope that's not the case. But the water people say maybe you got a leak at the house. I say I haven't seen signs of it, but you know who's a pro in that is Hemp Hill. So I got them coming out to do leak detection work for me. 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com. If it doesn't run right, drain right, flow right, whether it's plumbing, HVAC, Hemp Hill is the number to call. 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com. So I'm hopeful they come out and they say it's not inside the house, but then they'll start outside the house. But that's the kind of service you get out of our guys at Hemp Hill.
Hopeful. I like that. Did anybody see, of course I know you did, you see every piece of video in sports every night. Did you see the walk-off home run in the Dominican League Championship last night? Junior Caminero, who's up-and-coming star for the Tampa Bay Rays, hits it wasn't even a walk-off, but did you see his home run celebration last night?
No, Jim, that one was not on my radar.
It's a minor league Tampa Bay guy? You think?
Well, no, it was the Dominican Republic Championship last night, and you have Albert Pujols was the manager of the winning team. The winner goes and plays in the Caribbean League Series.
I'm going to assume he just loves baseball still.
Albert Pujols said he's coaching in that league, but it's the Dominican Professional League, their championship game last night, and Caminero hits a 454-foot shot to take a 6-5 lead, but it's the top of the ninth. Now, their celebrations in the Caribbean League.
Yeah, they get a little extensive, yeah.
It was, go check it out on video. It was Scott Van Pelt called it the best home run celebration of all time. He, again, at first I thought it was a walk-off, so you can take as long as you want into a celebration.
That's right.
He throws his helmet and his bat as top as the light standards into the air, and then the whole team is out of the dugout, and he is standing just 3 steps out of the batter's box doing this for what seems like 30 seconds. And then he goes and stands on first base and does it again for about 30 seconds. Then he puts his helmet back on and trots to second base and is just doing this all around the bases.
Please tell me the home team won this at the bottom of the ninth.
No, they didn't. But I'm watching it. I'm like, they've still got to get them out of the inning, and then they got to get 3 outs. This was an insane celebration. It was unbelievable. And they now go to the Caribbean League Series. But that's some fun baseball when you catch the highlights. Anyway, I don't know how it is to watch the game, but the highlights are unbelievable.
Yeah, you think he gets his tower buzzed in the major leagues if he does that?
Oh, he'll be up soon for Tampa Bay. But it was a celebration for the ages. We can't show it to you because of rights, but go check it out anywhere on social media if you haven't seen it. It was the most mustard celebration in the history of sports. It was unbelievable. It makes the bat tossing that they get upset about in Major League Baseball look like nothing. Your concerning number of the day is 37.7 million. That, according to tax records in 2024, is the deficit that Ohio State athletics operated against. Ohio State had a deficit last year of $37.7 million.
Yeah, so did Alabama.
Yeah, I'm going to assume this has to do with a lot of the Olympic sports. I think people immediately will pull, well, man, you spent 20 or 30 or whatever that number was on football. You got all that back. Yeah. I really didn't think, though, that was an athletic department budget that would ever operate in the red.
No, that's my point. Ohio State they spend more money on college athletics than anybody else.
Yeah, and the more we talk to collectives, Ohio State and then Texas. Those are your two.
Yeah. You said Alabama 2024 was a deficit as
well?
Yeah,
they lost money. Now, they said that the majority of the losses were attributed to the coaching change. And for those that are like, well, what does that have to do with it? Well, they had to pay a buyout for Kalen DeBoer, which is pretty significant as I remember it. I think $10 million. Then you've got to buy out his assistant coaches that come with him. You've got to pay buyouts to the Alabama coaches that don't stay, and maybe some staff members as well. So, I mean, there are some expenses when you change a head coach, even if it's not buying out your current head coach.
That's correct.
So that was what was attributed to Alabama's overall losses in the athletic department. The good news for Alabama, and I'm assuming this will be true of Ohio State, donations were way up. Like year-to-year donations were up. So I would imagine that's the same for Ohio State. And look, We talk about this all the time. Like, if you go to the boosters and say, hey, I got this Caleb Downs kid, he's going to cost me $2 million, I got to have the $2 million. He better perform. If Ryan Day did, in fact, go out and scare up $20 million for this roster, you just won a national championship with it. In theory, it would make it a lot easier to go back to those boosters and say, all right, it's another year. I got to have me another quarterback or whatever the case will be. I mean, if he had lost a national championship, it was going to be increasingly more difficult for him to go back to those boosters and try to beat them up for money.
But I'm with you, LT. If Ohio State is at a $37.7 million deficit,
everybody is at a deficit.
How can I do it at UAB? How can I do it at Vanderbilt? How can I do it anywhere?
Well, not only are you, I mean, Ohio State just did it at the highest level. They won the biggest championship in all of sports collegiately.
With a big stadium that's always packed, with a great TV contract.
And one of the best, if not best, brands out there right now, and you're operating in a deficit. So, I mean, I guess a better question, which programs are in the black right now?
Well, if Alabama and Ohio State aren't, I don't know who would be.
Yeah, I mean, really, do you think any
Texas,
of them are?
There's got to be a reason they're reporting losses, don't you think?
Well, I mean,
these schools didn't just all of a sudden start not making a profit.
I mean, you've got a lot of people on staff. I mean, the accountants, I've got an accountant, and he has to worry about, like, my small thing. Yeah. I mean, how many accountants do they have for these athletic departments?
Well, let me just say this. Not that anyone would do anything. Is nefarious the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, nefarious is a good word.
Yeah.
I like that word.
It's actually a bigger word than I should be using.
Yeah,
but
it's a good word, though.
Not that anybody did anything that wasn't by the book, but Congress has never been looking at college athletics more than it's looking right now.
Bingo.
You've never had to go into revenue sharing.
Bingo.
Than you have right now.
That's right.
So it's probably not a bad time to take a loss. You know what I mean? Be a horrible time right now going into revenue sharing and Congress setting the rules of the future to say, man, we made $110 million profit last year.
Yeah.
Oh, look at us.
Maybe you've got a closed door meeting with a bunch of Power Fours, and they're like, "Hey, everybody, find a way to report a loss."
That's right. That's what I'm saying. There's a reason they're all reporting losses.
Hey, go ahead and pay off all that debt.
That's
man.
right.
Pay off
Whatever
all
you
those
can
loans.
do.
Yeah. Everybody take a loss. This year.
By the end of this, you're going to have Ohio State saying, "Could you give a little bit, please?
Please.
We're just trying to have a football program."
Excuse me, Congressman. Can you spare a dime? It's trash time. Mortgage Right brings us trash every day. LT's got it for us. Tyler put it together. Spin the wheel, Tyler.
I like to solve a puzzle. Okay, well, let's hear it. Treat yourself a round of sausage. No. I'm sorry, that's not it. Over to Katina.
I like to solve.
Okay.
Give yourself a round of applause.
Yeah, that's it.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
He's blind.
Hey, since day one, we love partnering with our friends at Mortgage Right, the mortgage experts. Whether you're looking for your first home or your final home, no cost or obligation, just to make that phone call, 205-900-7200, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. Our friend Patty, the office chick, sent this story in
thank
for
you,
us.
Patty. It's a classic. It's a flashback.
Weezer's, what song is it? Buddy Holly came on the other day.
Okay.
Do you guys remember him singing the Buddy Holly song with my name in the lyrics?
Oh, I do not. Patty did that?
He did it in here. He did it going to break one time. You don't remember?
Oh, that's right. God, I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah, Patty is one of the worst. Clay Travis was yesterday talking about how tone deaf he is.
Yeah.
Patty's probably the worst.
He played
and then him doing Weezer.
He played the $1 Million Band. Patty did.
Well, I'm just talking about singing.
Oh, singing. Okay.
Yeah.
He played trombone, $1 Million Band.
Here's his story, though. Wildwood man arrested for battery after throwing a bologna sandwich at his housemate during an argument over a PlayStation.
Okay.
Deputy responded to an unknown disturbance at an undisclosed residence around 1 p.m. on Sunday. According to a report from the county sheriff's office, upon arrival, deputy met with 29-year-old Quoctavius Chandler, who stated that he threw a bologna sandwich at the male victim. He explained he threw the sandwich due to the victim taking back his PlayStation 5 from his bedroom and trying to antagonize him into a verbal altercation. The deputy then spoke to the victim, who advised that Chandler was being too loud while playing his PS5. He was trying to sleep, so he got the PS5 from Chandler's bedroom. Chandler became aggressive, yelled at him, according to the report. Chandler's behavior led to the victim to record the incident on his cell phone while he was being yelled at. Chandler threw a bologna sandwich at the victim, which hit him in the center of his chest. Oh, it's a pretty good shot.
That is not bad. Boy, that's a waste of bologna. I like a good bologna sandwich.
Criminal history check revealed that Chandler has 2 prior battery convictions.
Hard to be a marksman with a bologna sandwich.
That is very difficult. Is this the bologna sandwich thrower here, Tyler? Is that who this is?
Yes, this is the guy who slung a bologna sandwich.
Hey, he's not beat up about the mugshot. He's kind of happy.
Would you say most places you go for lunch, it's between $15 or $20 if you get sandwich, side, and drink?
Yeah, somewhere
everything's
in there,
15 to 20.
Yeah, there's a local establishment, and I was on the road. I don't remember where I was, but they had it on the marquee. 2 bologna biscuits for $4.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
It does, but
it does.
How in the hell can you make any kind of profit on that?
I don't know,
all
but
the time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Put a little mustard on there.
We have got an update on a story.
T-Bob Abear did not know people put mustard on sausage biscuits. He was talking about that on Twitter yesterday.
Are you serious?
How do you not know that?
Did he not grow up
I've
in
heard
the 80s
about
or
it,
90s?
But I don't see the mix. Like, I think jelly is much better on a sausage biscuit.
You've never put mustard on a sausage biscuit?
I've done mustard. I've done
I prefer
jelly.
jelly, but my grandfather will only eat it with mustard.
I'll tell you what I've
mustard's the way to
started
go.
to do in the mornings. English muffin with pepper jack cheese, mayonnaise, and a good jelly.
I can't start the day.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I can't start the day with
Oh,
mayonnaise.
it's fantastic. How can you not start the day with mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise is borderline to begin with, but with jelly?
By the way, a little heads up, Billy Crystal and your girl Meg Ryan are recreating the
have what
Harry
she's
Met
having?
Sally diner scene with Hellman's mayonnaise for the Super Bowl.
That's a Super Bowl commercial.
I'll have what she's having, that scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the mustard and sausage is a great pairing. I've done jelly and jam. I like it on
Yeah, I
sausage
mean, all
too.
that. I cannot imagine mayonnaise and jelly. Oh, Lance.
Oh, so good.
You have me English muffin and cheese.
And that pepper jack cheese, it's got a little kick.
I even let you go with the mayonnaise thinking, okay, let's hear the meat he's going to put on this. Nope, it's jelly.
Would you try it?
No, that sounds awful.
You ate a burger from a Chinese restaurant and you won't try mine.
That's a good burger. You ought to try it. I'm not a big mayonnaise fan. What?
Where did you do that at?
No, there's a Chinese restaurant where we get our primary takeout, and they've got an amazing cheeseburger. It is so good.
Now, it is dog, but or wolf or whatever.
It's an amazing
fill in whatever
cheeseburger.
animal.
It's cow. Don't listen to Lance.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust a burger there.
Or as the story we had from China the other day, officer pup. It could be. I always said, when you did that story the other day, I wanted to say, well, that dog, he's living a great life in China. He's actually a police officer.
But think about, I can go to that place. I can get sushi. I can get lo mein. I can get shrimp fried rice.
Okay,
I get
things that they typically cook.
I get a
This is
cheeseburger.
Tillamook pepper jack. It is Duke's mayo, and it's like this Concord jelly. Great jam.
Oh, it sounds awful.
And no meat on the biscuit?
What's that?
No meat?
No.
No.
I mean, that's the whole problem.
First of all, it's not a biscuit. It's an English muffin.
Oh, yeah,
so
my
you've
bad.
lost me
English
there. You've lost me there.
Okay, here's our update.
It tastes so good, though. Did you see him there? He just had to swallow.
Yeah, your mouth's watering.
It's really not.
It's
But
tasting good.
Popeyes and Don Julio. We talked about this
we've
story
got
the
the
other
update.
day.
All right, follow
They
up.
are teaming up for the launch of the new Popeyes Tequila Don Julio Championship menu for customers over 21 at select locations in Kansas City, Miami, New Orleans, New York, and Philadelphia. One day only. Seems like a lot of work for one day.
Boy, Ryan Brown was
January
wrong.
31st. By the way, that chicken does not look good right there, does it? What is that bun?
That's a concha?
Oh,
is that what they
yeah.
say that? Concha?
Yep.
I've
I've never had one.
I'd try that.
You try that and you wouldn't try my breakfast
I
sandwich.
would not, Lance. Is our concha sweet?
Yeah, it's normally like a real sweet bread.
Okay.
Yeah, so the sandwich features juicy chicken breast filled filet marinated in reposado tequila, fried in a crunchy buttermilk breading, then topped with a spicy spread, a barrel-cured pickle, tequila lime slaw, all served on the sweet and butter concha roll.
That sounds amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, the wings are served with specialty sauce and a spicy strawberry hibiscus flavored lemon mocktail.
Yeah, that's it. Now we're soaking the food and everything in tequila.
Correct.
But we're going to do a mocktail to drink it with. I mean, give me the dang full margarita here.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense.
That sandwich sounds
but
amazing.
those wings do not look good, do
What's
they?
our closest location? And I got to do this on Super Bowl
there
Sunday?
There was a Popeyes on
No, I meant the serving.
Valleydale.
I was the one that's serving this.
New Orleans. I think New Orleans.
No, it's going to be a hard pass. It's going to be packed.
Never a good idea here. Florida elementary school principal arrested for allegedly throwing an alcohol-fueled house party attended by more than 100 underage students.
Nope. Oh, especially no. Yeah.
So left is the principal, and on the right is a third grade teacher, I believe it was.
She's very surprised to have been arrested.
Sunday, January 19th, police in Cocoa Beach called to a home where a large party was taking place. Police said in a press release they were allegedly found more than 100 juveniles in matching T-shirts, many of whom consuming alcohol that was later learned available in coolers at the house, according to police. Now, officers found one juvenile on the front lawn experiencing a, quote, alcohol-related medical event. Juvenile was so heavily intoxicated that the fire and rescue had to respond to treat him. Officers identified the homeowner as Roosevelt Elementary School principal Elizabeth Brodigan, 47 years old. Is that the one on the left?
That's on the left, yeah.
Now, while EMTs tended the juvenile, Brodigan was seen by officers in the driveway of her house, turning off the outside lights and entering her residence, causing police to use auxiliary lighting on their vehicle to treat the juvenile. After police arrived, an intoxicated adult female, identified as the one on the right, I guess here, Carly Anderson, 45, approached officers on the scene, identifying herself as a teacher who had been at the party. Police learned that she was a teacher at the Roosevelt Elementary School. In the following days, detectives interviewed numerous juveniles and parents. An arrest warrant was obtained for Brodigan, who was charged with child neglect.
I'm
going to assume she's losing her job, too.
How old are the kids? Because they're teaching elementary kids.
Yeah.
Are these high schoolers?
A lot of places reporting this story conveniently left this out. They said that their elementary school teachers didn't mention the age of the kids. The kids were all in high school.
Yeah.
So it's written in a way to make you think they were giving third graders.
I mean,
alcohol.
100, that's like Project X.
Girl on the right has an opportunity to bust out of jail if she can steal a guard's outfit. She has that guard look. She'll be able to walk out with the other guards.
Oh yeah, let her go.
Yeah. Come on by.
Did you guys ever I had a friend of mine that was recounting the student-teacher situations he had at his school. I had none of those growing up. Did y'all have any of those?
No, I had fraternity brothers that did in Atlanta.
Every year for you, Tyler?
Oh, yeah, every
year.
You
talking about teacher banging a student?
Yeah, like a teacher not only doing that, but getting caught and getting fired for that.
Now, the most salacious thing, I went to high school, had a buddy that not only banged his girlfriend, but banged his girlfriend's mom.
Do y'all think it just happened more?
Brown.
What? I mean, that's next level, Lance. I'm just thinking that that is next level.
That is next level.
That is next level. You're right.
Have you never heard of that?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah. I mean, I've not experienced it personally. Like nobody I know that I'm aware of. I'm just asking, do you think
is that one hard to come back from?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you pick one or the other at that point, right? And hope one of them's forgiving, I guess.
Boy, and the mom and daughter look night and day apart.
Oh, I bet.
It's even worse.
I bet.
So do you think it happened more back when we were kids and it just didn't get reported? Well, how did it just start happening out of the blue?
Probably.
Here's what dawned on me. Yes, it didn't. It didn't. I've known of a high school person, teacher. I mean, she or he. I won't give names.
Please, Jim. Please walk the light here.
Was 22,
right?
Just out of college, first job, and senior back then. I turned 18 my December year.
That's right.
Senior year.
Yeah.
So 22, 18.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal
it's
now.
Not that crazy now.
There's laws against it.
Teacher student, and it becomes less creepy when you find out they end up getting married and they're married for 20 years.
Yeah, live happily ever after.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but.
And then you've got my high school where a math teacher took his son's ex-girlfriend to the prom. Or no, his son's prom date.
Wait.
Whoa.
Wait, start over.
Here we sit.
Wow.
All right, here we go. Let's go.
All right, math teacher, his son breaks up with his girlfriend.
Okay.
Both high school age.
Of course.
Math teacher is, at the time, I believe in his 50s or older.
Oh, crap.
Girlfriend and math teacher end up getting together, having a kid.
Shut up.
What, you mentioned prom in there. There was a prom situation?
Hey, where'd you go to high school?
She was...
Let's don't do that. Yes.
She was the math teacher's son's prom date.
Okay, so he took her to prom, and then they ended up, after the breakup, they had a child together.
Yes.
Yeah. The 50-year-old
Right.
Yes.
math teacher.
Yes.
Did they get married?
And the high school
I don't
student.
believe they did.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow. Well, first of all, just
Look, I will
just
say,
your running bounce back off your son's breakup.
Yeah, I know.
You're the bounce back guy.
Wow. When we were working at Cumulus, I used to give an award away at a local high school when I first started working. This is 98, 99. And so, I was in my mid-20s. But I would go to these high school gyms for pep rallies to give this award away, different football player every week. And after the first couple of years, the high school girls look so freaking young. And even now when we go to college campuses, and I know people like to make fun of the fact that I'm dating a 20-year-old who gives a shit, whatever.
She's older than 20. She's in her 20s.
No, I said 28.
Oh, I thought you said a 20.
It sounded like you said 20.
No, it did sound like you said 20.
She is 28 years old.
Right.
But my point is, when we go down to like Innisfree, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, those girls look young.
They do look quite young, yes.
So I think you've got to be wired a certain way. If you're a high school teacher, obviously, if you're having sex with an underage student.
That's tough right there. I kind of want to go to Tyler's reunion. When's your next reunion?
I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go.
Okay.
Did you go to high school around here, though?
I did.
Was it a private school?
Lance is going to pull it out of you.
It definitely was not.
I don't know why Dunaway worries about what was the school. Who cares? Dunaway worries about the dumbest shit. I'm going to save these other stories for tomorrow.
Why? We got all day.
Well, I mean, we're
we can go past 12 anytime.
Okay.
Let's go.
Florida man dressed in a Dalmatian onesie will be held in his own cage after fleeing troopers in a vehicle, then running away with one handcuff on, according to the Florida Highway Patrol. Now, just after midnight on Monday, troopers spotted a red pickup truck speeding down US 19 in Hudson, swerving all over the roadway. After the trooper activated their lights and sirens on their patrol car, the suspect, identified as 36-year-old Dylan Devereaux, fled. According to the report here, Devereaux even dropped off a passenger, made a U-turn, and then continued to flee. Now, the photo shows the moments after Devereaux continued fleeing when he crashed into a tree at the intersection of Girard Row and Jebbert Drive.
Wow.
Now, Devereaux then took on foot, was tased by a trooper. As he was being placed in handcuffs, suspect began fighting the trooper on the road and was tased again. According to the arrest report, Devereaux pushed the trooper and then he began to run towards his home with one handcuff on. He then disappeared into the nearby wood line. Another trooper and his K-9 arrived at the scene, sweeping the backyard of the home in the wooded area. Inside of the home, Devereaux's girlfriend, 31-year-old Megan Hamilton, told officials that she did not want them in her home because she had drugs inside and didn't want to go to jail. Hamilton also told them Devereaux was not inside, but later she said she was worried about what Devereaux would reach for if they did enter the home. Devereaux was arrested wearing a lanyard with a pouch containing an unknown white pill substance and meth. He told troopers that he disposed of the handcuffs somewhere while running between the houses.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know. Running, you could grab a gun.
The Dalmatian onesie, that's going to stand out. Though.
Yeah, I would.
Hard for him to hide.
Part of the punishment should be he has to keep that on and lock up.
There's a joke there.
You want me to do the final one?
Yes!
Where'd you go to high school, Tyler?
I'll tell you after the show. I don't want people looking up these situations and finding the real people's names.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
Well, I mean, it's been
okay.
a while.
I don't worry about shit I shouldn't worry about.
You do.
People like to be
I know.
internet
I mean, there
detectives.
are some laws that I worry about. Yeah.
There's a law if it's legitimate stuff.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
A Malaysian man has began offering his services as a villain for hire, allowing clients to act like heroes by fighting him off or taking him down in front of others, specifically their partners. Now, 28-year-old Shazali Suleiman decided to capitalize on his intimidating physical appearance. I don't know if this is an intimidating physical
I wouldn't
appearance.
call it intimidating.
And he's got a
It's an appearance.
stormtrooper on.
Which is more intimidating, the right one because he's not all the way in the frame. He looks bigger.
I think the left one because he's got the unlit cig. It's hard edge right there.
He
if I've got
looks
that
like a bad kid in that left
Yeah.
picture.
He promoted on Facebook, quote, "Are you tired of your partner thinking you are weak? For a reasonable fee, I can help you prove them wrong." So effectively, he will show up at a situation. You're at a restaurant. Your partner goes to the bathroom. He comes in, acts like he's harassing the girlfriend. Then he comes in and gets to be the hero.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this seems like a lot of effort.
How much he has stated no one is ever injured during his act, and the act has never taken too far. Quote, "It's just an act like WWE. No one gets hurt. I am the only loser."
What time do you think this guy sleeps till?
Said service available to both men and women. Yeah, this guy. I don't think he's going to get a lot of business.
Yep, nope, I don't think so either. He's an entrepreneur.
So if I wanted to make Maggie think I was manly enough to defend her,
I mean, I would
I'd
hope
hire
she
this
could
guy
whip,
out.
I would hope she could whip his ass.
Yeah, probably could. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
If you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process easy. So remember, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop mortgage shop, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
Louis Riddick interviewed some more for GM spots. You think he'll ever get one?
I don't know if he really wants one.
He interviewed with the Jets, I know. He's interviewed 2 straight years.
He's got a pretty good gig.
Yeah.
He does, but, I don't know. He's used less and less on the NFL side and now strictly on the college side.
I don't know. I mean, what do you think he makes?
I really don't know.
Probably
man.
not as much as a GM.
I think he's making less than he once did because at once, he was part of Monday Night Football, which is going to pay you pretty well. Remember,
right.
He was in the booth on Monday Night Football.
It does seem like his window may be closing to actually get a GM spot.
But
in the NFL.
But as long as you're on ESPN, you're always in front of people and you always seem smarter. We've said that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a really good analyst.
Oh, I do too.
Maybe a little too serious. Maybe they want a little more personality.
Yeah, I think it's hard for him sometimes to turn off the talent evaluation that he did for so long.
Yeah. Senior Bowl coverage is what we're watching there on ESPN. They're down in beautiful Mobile, Alabama. We're back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget to go get all the content on all of our platforms at Next Round Live. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.